Let's just see what he has this afternoon. Tristan, good afternoon. I'm going to head southwest towards Arethusa airstrip and follow up on those on that pair. No negative. Dear, I've headed right down. I'm at the Torchwood at the moment. Copy, thank you. Sorry about that, just working out where Tristan and I are headed. Even though we see each other just before drive, it's quite fun to be able to talk on the radio and sound all professional. And it's also so that the other game drive vehicles, if they are out, they have an idea of our plan and where we are going. What's been happening today? It's been a lazy Sunday. The bosses are all gone, I suppose you could say. Steph is going to be back soon. James left today for his trip to India, which is very exciting. I'm sure they are going to have a wonderful time then. I wish them all the best. So it's been quiet. There's anarchy in the camp. No, I'm kidding. It's not that bad. It's been fun. Luckily the rain has moved off. It looks like, I don't want to jinx anything yet, but there are patches of blue sky coming through. So that is really, really great. Hopefully we don't get any more rain. I am going to try and relocate on that male and female line that Tristan saw this morning, and hopefully they're still around. That would be great. I haven't seen a cat on this trip yet, or in the last few days, so it would be nice to see them. And Rebecca is a bit nervous because I decided to take the rain roof off the vehicle, but I'm feeling confident for the moment. And I think, to be honest, if it does rain, I just won't say anything to Rebecca, and maybe I will avoid severe punishment. And I hope everybody's having a wonderful weekend wherever you are in the world. And maybe send through some requests today. What would you like to see? And I hope you're all having a relaxing Sunday, and maybe curled up on the couch with some coffee or hot chocolate, or maybe something a bit stronger. Watching Safari Live. We had amazing elephant sightings this morning. There was a lot of elephant around, and that was really special. You all know how much I love elephant, so I really enjoyed that. Alright, we're going to start the show shortly with Tristan. I'll see you all a bit later. No.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's a cold, grey, cloudy afternoon. That is a Wahlberg's Eagle. This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our sunset safari on this beautiful afternoon. It is cold and a bit grey and cloudy, but it has warmed up really nicely, and that wind from this morning that was icy has seemed to drop, so it looks like it's going to be a beautiful afternoon. Now, my name is Tristan, and on camera today I've got Craig, aka the Batman, and we are going to go search around on Cheetah Plains, I think, this afternoon. But first, before I go there, I've got an idea that I'm going to go just quickly head up towards Vuyatela Access, because Taylor, during the day today, managed to spot a young male leopard, and I wonder if possibly it's not Sindile. So we're going to go try and search there first before we go anywhere else, because I would love to catch up with him. I haven't seen him in over a year, so that is going to be my first port of call, is just to quickly go and check up there and see if it's him. Now, the most important part of this whole experience is you, the viewers, so we would love to hear from you. If you've got any burning questions or just want to let us know where you are and how you're doing and what the weather is like, then you can let us know on Twitter at #SafariLive. Right, Craig, let's see if we can go and find this leopard. Wouldn't it be nice if it is Sindile? So while we go and check around and see what we can find, let's go across to my friend Byron, who I'm sure is full of jokes and is dying to say hello.
Good afternoon, everyone. A beautiful afternoon, in fact, with the clouds. My name is Byron, and on camera with me is Dave. Those of you who missed the pre-show drive that we did. So my plan this afternoon, I hope Tristan has some luck with that leopard, Sindile. That would be great. I am heading down, or we are heading down rather, towards Arethusa, see if we can get a glimpse of that pair of lions that were down there this morning. I would really like to see them. So we'll try our luck and see what else we can find along the way. As I mentioned earlier, there was a lot of elephant activity this morning. We saw so many herds, which are really wonderful to see and spend time with. There were elephant everywhere. And I was saying to Dave this morning, it's so interesting how the bush can change. A few months ago, in January, driving through Vuyatela, we were struggling to see elephant. And it just goes to show that with the changing of the seasons, and when there's food in certain areas and water in certain areas, animals will move around there and then come back again. They constantly move. There are small movements happening within these areas. And it looks like most of the elephant are all back around this area at the moment. So, but it does change constantly, and we will, but wonderful to see. Let's see. These are the old lion tracks from yesterday, I think. The males walk down here. Dave, can you see that? Is that good? There we go. It's a beautiful lion track. Actually, let me just go a little bit forward like that. Is that alright, Dave? Just for those and the ones further back. Let me jump off quickly. I just want to show you. It's always nice to have a look at tracks, clear tracks, especially ones like this that are so clear in the soft sand. And if you have a look, this track, it's a large male track, you can see purely by the size. Very big toes, widespread. And the back of the track, if I can show you, you can always see these three lobes very clearly at the back of the track, and that's the palm. You could say at the palm or the back pad, and then the 1, 2, 3, 4 toes. And judging by the size, and you can see against my hand, it's almost the same size as my hand. And in certain areas, you do get male lion tracks that are even bigger than my hand, and depending on the size of the lion. But this is a very big track, about the size of my hand. And these, I think, were the males that walked down onto Arethusa yesterday. Those tracks are not fresh, but nice to see them, and good to have a look. So all the big cat tracks have got those three lobes: the leopards, the cheetah, and the lion, and Hyena have got the double lobe at the back. They don't have 3 lobes, so it's very easy. If you just have a look at the back pad of the track, you can see exactly if it's a cat or if it's hyena. I'm going to continue down towards Arethusa. Let's head back to Tristan and get an update on how his search for Sindile is going.
Well, I haven't quite got to that area yet, Byron, but we will get there as soon as we can. I've got a bit distracted with birds already this afternoon. A beautiful magpie shrike that was sitting on top there. They are very, very pretty birds, and they're called magpie shrikes because of that black and white coloration. That's where they get their name from. Their old name used to be a long-tailed shrike, and that long tail flows off the back and is generally very, very pretty, especially when there's a little bit of light on them. They get this sort of black sheen, and it's very, very, very nice to see. Now, they are quite common in this area. We see them very regularly, and normally where you find one, you'll find more, so I'm sure as we go along, there'll be a couple more of them on the edges of the road. Now, you can hear in the distance, again, the monotonous larks still calling away, so they're still with us. So those of you that have been with us for a few weeks, you will know that the monotonous larks have been monotonous, to say the least. And for those of you that are new to the show, we have these new larks that have arrived in the last few weeks, and they've come in and they just don't stop calling. So what I'll do is I'll try and find one for you. The none are very close by. The call is very, very far away, but I can play the call for you so that you know what it sounds like, so that later when we do see them, you will know what I'm talking about. Now, just give me 2 seconds quickly. So, there we go. That is the bird that we're talking about. Very nondescript. It doesn't have too many bright colors. Unfortunately, it's very lark-like in that it is quite drab and has these sort of brown backs and creamy colors on the chest. But the call is... and they do not stop, ever. They go all night long. We've had them even in the middle of the night. If you go to the bathroom during the middle of the night, you can hear them calling in the distance. So they really are very, very monotonous, like the name suggests. Right, but enough about birds. There could be a young leopard on the property, so let's go see that rather. Cedar saying another first for your bird list, that magpie shrike. Now, sorry, I've just spotted another bird that's on this dead tree here, and I'm not quite sure what it is because it's silhouetted a bit. I think it is a barbet, but let's just make 100% sure. Yes, a crested barbet. So it's very difficult because the light this afternoon is very grey and dingy, so you do not see the nice colors. But this is a very, very beautiful bird. It's got bright oranges and yellows with little red spots all over it. I really do like the barbets quite a bit. And these barbets are very, very common here. We see them very regularly all over the place, often in the camps. And off it's gone into the bush. Sorry about that, I got a bit distracted. Sometimes when you see birds and they're silhouetted up against the trees, especially on a grey day like this where you can't see colour very nicely, it's always good just to check and make sure, especially now after all the rains that we've had in the last few weeks. Lots of very interesting birds that have arrived, like the monotonous lark, the dusky larks that have been here. There's been a few interesting ones, so always worth checking. Now, wouldn't it be amazing if it is Sindile? Like I say, don't think anybody has seen him on Wild Earth for a while, and I know that I haven't seen him since before he attacked the dog, so a long time ago. And so he no longer has his collar, and it would be obviously going to take a little bit of IDing to get it right, so we might call on you if we do find him. But it is very exciting news, and I believe Rebecca is saying that lots of you are commenting that you're very excited to see him. There's another beautiful bird. No, don't fly away. Aww. That's not ideal. We had a beautiful, beautiful bird there. Let me show you quickly what it was. The reason why I wanted to stop is because they are one of my favorite birds in terms of color. So that was what was sitting on that branch. Is that not very, very colorful? Look at that. Look at all the bright colors in there. So European beta, and they're not going to be here for much longer, given that we're starting to get to the point where the temperature is changing. The days are definitely getting much shorter. these guys unfortunately are not going to be around much longer. So all this beautiful coloration that we have from these migratory birds is all going to disappear, which is a little bit saddening. So we must take advantage while they're here and enjoy them as much as possible. James, the likelihood of seeing wattled starlings is actually pretty good. I saw lots and lots and lots this year, or last year, on Simambili, Elephant Plains, Arethusa, so I can't see why they wouldn't be here. The thing about wattled starlings is generally much better to try and view them in early summer before the grass gets too long. Now the grass is really very long, and we also haven't had big herds of buffalo coming through. You often find them associated with big herds of buffalo, but they are around. Where did I see them the other day? Cheetah Plains, I saw them actually. So if we don't have any luck with this leopard this afternoon, I will go down towards Cheetah Plains, and I'll definitely try and see if I can find them for you. They are quite common in this area, so we should be able to find one somewhere along the line and be able to show you them. Very strange looking birds, especially the male with those wattles that hang down and that sort of creamy color and the yellow. Very cool birds to look at. And like I say, generally hanging around wildlife. So wherever you've got herds of things, so zebras, wildebeest, impalas, buffalo, they tend to be somewhere close by, and they basically use the animals to hawk insects. So as the animals are disturbing insects, so they're flying down and just grabbing them as they go. Now, I'm very interested to see who this leopard is, because Taylor said to me she wasn't sure. She said it was about 2.5 years old, which would be exactly who Sindile was, and she says he was a little bit skittish. So it's going to be very interesting to see if we can actually find him and see if he's still on Djuma. It was very close to our northern boundary, so I hope he hasn't popped north. But let's try and get there quickly now and stop messing around too much with birds. And while we do that, let's go to Byron, who I believe is on the Arethusa runway and is in search of those lions.
I am indeed. Just arrived on the airstrip. Now there seem to be quite a few impala dotted around on the outskirts, and you might be able to see some off to the right, just on the edge of the airstrip. I've had no sign of lions just yet. Now my concern is that it's been a very cool day. And these lions could possibly have moved off. So I'll try my best to have a look around here. They went, or they possibly just moved off into the thicket and are lying somewhere close to the airstrip. And we found them. There they are, straight ahead, everyone. Wow, this looks interesting. I wonder, it looks like they might be mating. Yeah, look at that. Looks like they're mating, everyone. Now, Tristan did mention this morning that there's a possibility that they might try and mate, judging by their behavior. Oh, look at that. That is fantastic. Now let's see, he was standing over the female. I wonder if he was mating properly or if he was just testing a little bit. Let's see, we'll spend some time here with them and see what they get up to. I was going to say, it's funny how all these impala are standing around, but they are alarm calling at the lions. But the thing is that with these lions being out in the open like this, they actually don't pose a threat to the impala at the moment, because there's no way that they would be able to stalk and ambush any of these impala. The impala can see them, so as long as they can see them, they'd be comfortable. It's when they don't see them that it's a problem. And those impala are actually quite far away from here. There we go, there the impala. Just walking off, but not too fazed by these lions. as I was saying, it's because it's been such a cool day, and that's actually benefited us because these lions have decided to stay on the airstrip out in the open. There's a bit of sun coming through now, but because it stayed cool all day, they haven't felt the need to move off and lie in the thicket or under a tree. So that we're really fortunate. And what is that? Is that a jackal lying over there? It is indeed. It is indeed 2 jackal. There we go. Side striped jackal. There's another one moving off to the right, but that one, a lovely view. It's all happening here this afternoon. What a lovely start. Beautiful light. Side striped jackal moving off, and the lions. Now it's interesting, these areas, this Sabi Sand area, for some reason there seem to be a lot more side striped jackal than black-backed. I have seen black-backed jackal here, but not very often. There are a lot more side striped jackal. But then in Kruger, you generally see a lot more black-backed jackal. So it's interesting. Just probably different areas suit the different jackal a little bit better. These side-striped jackal often enjoy open clearings, especially airstrips, because it is so open. They'll lie out and probably have a den site close by. Cedar. Now, lions will mate. It's actually interesting. A process of mating works like this. A male will find a female and usually try separate her from the pride, the one that he thinks is in estrus. And he'll try and separate her from the pride. And those two, that pair, will then move off, just like these two have done. They'll move off and spend anywhere between 3 to 5 days, that's an average, 3 to 5 days together to mate. And what happens is the male will then, in the beginning, especially in the beginning, the mating will be very, the mating will be very, very frequent. So in the beginning, it would be maybe once every 10 to 15 minutes, and then as the days move on, so by day 3, day 4, and day 5, the period between each mating session will become a lot longer apart, and then eventually the male will leave the female. But in the beginning, it can be very frequent, every 10 to 15 minutes or so. All depends. The same happens with leopards. They also mate very frequently in the beginning, and then towards the end of that mating period, then they start taking their time, or they start taking longer to mate between each session. But also during the course of the day, like today, if it is a little bit warmer, they won't mate as much, but then in the evenings they'll probably mate a lot more frequently. Brandon, this pride, I think this is a female from the Styx pride, if I'm not mistaken. It's a lioness from the Styx pride, and this male is one of the Birmingham males, the coalition that is dominant in this area. They patrol this whole area, and they are dominant over the two prides that we see a lot, the Nkahuma pride and the Styx pride. And these males will mate mate with all those females. And this is one of the Birmingham males. 3 of them were around this area yesterday. But what often happens is there is a dominance hierarchy between the coalition. Even though they're brothers, there is still a dominance hierarchy. And what happens is the one that is slightly more dominant than the others will be able to get to mate with the females first, if he does find them. And the others probably move off, either wait their turn, because occasionally what can happen is males or female will mate with a number of males, not just one. Or they will just go and find other females from the pride and mate with them. So that often happens. Caged, good question. What happens when a plane wants to land on the airstrip? So what happens is all the lodges within these areas have got, you could call them air marshals. They'll come up with a vehicle. It's maybe a guide or somebody that's just employed to do this. They'll come up and they'll drive along the airstrip and make sure that there aren't any animals on the airstrip, and they'll probably just chase them off with the vehicle. They just, if you drive towards most animals, as you've seen, they tend to just move away. So just to try get them off the airstrip for safety, if there are planes coming in. So there is always somebody that comes up to the airstrip about half an hour before the planes actually land, and then they just try to get them off. So I'm going to sit here with these lions for a little bit, see if they do mate again. But while we do that, let's quickly head over to Tristan. I think he's got some tracks he'd like to show you.
Indeed we do, Byron. So this is the track for that young male leopard that is going north up Mvula-Styx access. So I'm just seeing where they go from here. But just to give you a size comparison, just so that you know, compared to what Byron was showing you with the lion tracks, is that these are much, much, much smaller. So if we come and have a look here, there we go. This is the whole track that you see. Now, these are from during the day today, so there's already a little bit of soil and things like that on top. But if I take this grass stem, you can see I put my hand like that. That is the size of the grass. And if we lay the grass next to the track, then let's just trim it, so that we're on the same size as the track. That would be the length of the track. Now, Byron's track that he had would have been much, much larger. He would have had a really big, round, big paw like that for the lions. So this is much, much smaller, and that's how we know. Also, it's got the 3 lobes at the back, which is typical cat. Sorry, Craig, we've got a little spider that's going down on your lens there. There we go. That's better. Now, I wonder where he's gone. I hope he hasn't gone into Simbambili, because he's walking straight north, and it's not very far to the boundary. So I want to just check quickly where they go to. But I'm very, very interested to know who this leopard is. I wonder if Taylor maybe got a photo or some sort of footage that we can see and check who it is. She'll also be able to give us a little bit more of an update. She is going to be getting out just now on walk, so we'll be able to ask her and see what she's got to say about this leopard that she saw. It's still going straight north at the moment. Like I say, we're running out of space a little bit. It's either going to go into Simbambili or Buffelshoek at this rate, which is not great news for us. Now, Texan is holding in the area, so I just want to quickly get hold of him. I wonder. So, still tracks are going north. Yeah, I think we're going to battle a little bit. I just want to get hold of Tex and find out if he's maybe picked up anything, because he told me he's going to do the boundary for me to make sure just that this leopard doesn't go out of our area. So Taylor says where we just found those tracks right now is where she saw him. And we have an almost suicidal squirrel that's come running out and is moving along the branches there. Oh, well done, Craig. So that little squirrel came bursting out and almost ran into the tire. Go ahead, Tux. No negative. Okay, copy. I'll be with you shortly. So it seems like we got really good news that Tex has managed to locate a leopard. I don't know if it is the leopard we're following, but he's managed to locate a leopard. So we're going to try and get there. It's on Sandy Patch, which is the road basically parallel to us. So I would imagine this is the same leopard. Now It's going to be interesting to see. Whichever leopard it is, the tracks that we see here are quite big. So if it is Sindile, he's grown quite a lot. It's a very sort of adult size animal. So I'm going to try and see who it is. Jack's mom, you say you would really like to see Sindile because he was the first leopard you saw on Safari Live. Well, that's very special. It's always special to remember your first leopard. I remember the first leopard I saw in the Sabi Sands as well, very, very clearly. It was the Ravenscourt female on Singita with her 2 cubs and then her older cub. But hopefully it will be him then, and we'll be able to get you Rula and cubs. And she, on her birthday, to be able to celebrate, because she says she's seen Karula and cubs every day, that it's been her birthday in the last few years. So hopefully they'll be around, but maybe this is one of Karula's offspring, or maybe shadows. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's try and see if we can find where Tex is and where he actually has this leopard. And while we do that, let's go across to Taylor so she can say good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here. I promise you, I wasn't having a little snooze or anything like that. Didn't have my cape draped around my face. But it's the Bushwalk team out on walk today. And my name is Taylor. We've got Wiem behind the camera with me this afternoon, keeping me entertained. And of course, Herbie, who's having a chat on the radio at the moment. He didn't even know we were pointing the camera at him. How funny was that? Should we show everybody his big pearly smile? The Herbie smile. Come on, Herbie. I know that you all absolutely love to see those pearly whites. And of course, Herbie, if you're wondering why he's got that big gun in his hand, that is just for, of course, absolute safety. And when we do walk out here, it is essential that we do carry a rifle. But the chances of us using it, next to nothing. Right, Wiem, should we swim our way in the grass through quarantine? I think that's what we'll have to do this afternoon. It's so long. We actually don't have a plan today. You know how we always go on vehicle bumbles? We're going to go on a walk bumble. We're going to be checking the grass. We'll be searching the trees, following maybe some elephant tracks. I'd like to see some elephants on foot today, and I don't think that there's any shortage of them at the moment. I actually saw a big bull just a moment ago going down towards Galago Pan, so that might be an idea. I forgot to tell Herbie. So we'll probably do that. And of course, this is a live interactive safari, so even though I'm standing here talking whole lots of nonsense, Tristan is out, you've met him already, and so is Byron. Hashtag Safari Live with any questions that you have for us. We keep walking. Hello, Cedar. Now you're wondering if there's... That's a tree. I thought I could see something. If there is any update on the injured zebra. Sadly not. I haven't heard anything just yet, and I've searched. I promise all of you, I've given my absolute 150% best efforts to try and find that zebra. I'm not sure where she's gone. Now, again, we can only speculate. She could have moved on towards where the rest of the herd went. They seem to... Oop, watch out, Wiem, you're right there. We'll go back onto the road for Wiem. In this long grass, there's many sticks that are poking up from the ground. We don't want him to end on his bottom. So the McCurdy herdie went further north towards Sydney's Dam. We haven't seen them. I actually haven't been to Sydney's Dam. That is the one spot I'm guilty of not checking. So perhaps one of the boys, when they go past that way, maybe they'll be able to go and have a quick look. And I reckon she was probably trying to pick up on the trail of the rest of the herd to try and relocate them. Whether she's done that successfully, of course, we'll have to wait and see until we find the herd. Otherwise, what we can do is start checking the drainage systems and things like that. There is a chance a lion, a leopard, if she died, could be scavenging on her, of course. We don't know how severe those wounds were. She seemed to be alright, of course. She was eating, she was doing normal zebra things, but you just never know with an injury like that. But let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's stay positive. And well, speaking of leopards, it seems as though Mr. Tristan Dix has broken the leopard curse. Let's go take a look at who he's found.
Indeed we have, Taylor. I'm so excited. It's been so long since we've seen a leopard. Well, it actually hasn't been that long. I saw Tingana this week, but it feels like long. A day without a leopard is not a good day. But it is interesting to see who this actually is. It's not who we thought it was. This is the old statesman out here. It is Mvula. So I'm really happy to see him. He's kind of just parked himself now into the grass. He's right on the edge of the boundary, and he was going towards the boundary. And I thought maybe we weren't going to get here in time, but he's decided just to lie down in the nice thick grass. Now you can't see that it's him just yet, but you can see that the ears are very, very tatty. So already we know that this is an older leopard. You can see there the little nicks out of the ears. And for those of you who know Mvula, you'll know that he has on the left side, he's got those two sort of cuts out, and on the right he's got that V. So it is definitely him. I've also seen him standing up and looking at me, so I know it's him for sure. But isn't this amazing to see him? He's such a beautiful leopard, and even though he's getting old and he's starting to lose a bit of his sort of condition and he's no longer this territorial male, he is still an absolutely beautiful animal, and his condition, like I say, is actually really good considering his age. He's doing really well at the moment. But isn't this amazing? What a way to break our leopard drought with Mvula. Of all the leopards that I would have thought we would have broken our sort of leopard drought with, it definitely would not have been Mvula. I would have thought maybe Tingana or the Royals, but to have him around is really quite special. So Bradley, you're wondering how many leopards occupy the reserves. Well, it depends on what reserves we're talking about. If we're talking about just the Sabi Sands, at the moment I think there's about 160 leopards within the Sabi Sand system. And if we talk about the Sabi Sand system and we include Mala Mala in that, we're looking at about 64,000 hectares or 128,000 acres. We can round it to 130,000 acres. So it's quite a sort of big area, and that's a very, very high density for that size of terrain. Now, the Sabi Sands Game Reserve has got one of the highest densities in the world. There are two other places with very high densities. The one is Sri Lanka, Yala's National Park, Yala National Park in Sri Lanka, should I say, and the other one is the South Luangwa in Zambia. So both of those have quite high densities. Here in Djuma, and where we traverse, we have at the moment, I counted them the other day, I think I got to 16 or 17 that we are seeing in this area, so quite a few. Now the thing is with Mvula is because he's gotten older, he's no longer territorial, so he's now just nomadic, and we find him in the most random places walking around. You can see he's having a bit of a nap now. I think maybe the only reason he was moving is because of the sort of vehicles finding him. It often happens with a leopard. Once they get found, they move a little bit and then they realize, well, I've been found now, and then lie down. Now, of all the males out here, he's probably one of the most relaxed, so we don't have to worry about him running. But the question then begs, which was the other leopard that Taylor saw? Because Taylor said she saw a young leopard who was quite skittish. Now you can see Mvula's not skittish at all. He's lying very close to us, completely unperturbed by my voice and talking. So I wonder if there's not another male somewhere here that maybe was chasing after Mvula, or there was some sort of competition between them. I didn't see tracks for another one, but it just seems like it would be very difficult to mistake this for a young leopard. Ah, Megan from Louisiana, you say this is your first leopard on Safari Live? Well, Megan, isn't it special? Aren't they the most beautiful animal that you've ever seen with those spotted coats? There really is something about a leopard. I hope that he's going to give us a really good show this afternoon, and that you'll enjoy the sighting as much as I am currently. They really are my favorite animal. So I'm hoping that he's definitely going to get up and we can show you the real beauty and power of a male leopard. Now, he is fast asleep, and we're going to sit and spend quite a bit of time with him this afternoon, as much as we can. So I think let's go across to Byron and see if his lions are matching Mvula in the sleeping contest, or whether they're being a little bit more active.
Well, Tristan, they seem to be matching, but their heads pop up every now and then, so I'm hoping we get a bit of activity from them. Maybe some mating, you never know. We did catch a glimpse of their mating when we arrived, but they haven't moved again. That airstrip's probably nice and warm, so I'm assuming that is why they've decided to lie there. But how exciting is it that Tristan got to find Mvula? That is wonderful. And I've only seen that leopard once. So it looks like it's a great cat afternoon for us. The lions and leopard very soon into drive. That is really, really great. At least the lions do in fact hunt while they are mating. They do have to eat, especially if they've been together for a week. It's a long time to go without food. They will definitely mate. So not mate, hunt. They will hunt, and usually it's a female. If she sees something, perhaps an impala or something like that, she'll try and hunt. If the male is close by, he will help her bring down their prey. But they will indeed hunt while they are mating. Jared, we were discussing a little bit earlier when lions are mating, how long they mate for. It all depends. It's anywhere between 3 days to a week. And these lions will probably stay away from the pride for that period of time. So 3 days a week. Occasionally, if they're not really mating properly, it might be a day or two, and then the female probably heads back to the pride. But the maximum amount of time away from the pride is probably a week, 5 to 6 days. Can see that lioness has got her head up and she's looking around. Remember I said earlier there was a lot of impala activity just on the edge of the thicket, and we can actually still see some of them moving behind them, straight behind them. There we go. There's still a lot of impala through there, but as I mentioned, it's highly unlikely for these lions to hunt, and that's why those impala don't feel threatened. And the reason for that is because they are so out in the open. They are completely exposed. There's no way that they would be able to hunt those impala now. The impala would see them coming, and they would definitely just move off and get away from the lions. I'm still going to stay with these lions for a little bit of time and see what they get up to. Let's head back to Taylor and let's see if she's decided what she's going to do this afternoon.
What a great Sunday with all the cats already. I mean, it's not even 5 o'clock yet. We've got Mvula down the road, who I briefly saw this afternoon during game drives. He wasn't very happy with the cars, though. He'd been running away, but I was in a normal car, so maybe he's just had bad experiences. And he seemed fine with the cruisers, the game drive vehicles, of course. Now, I've spotted a new flower that has just popped up, and I don't know what it is just yet. We'll have a look at it. Maybe some of you have seen it. Remember when I worked down on the sands, there was no grass, there was barely any flowers. But if you have a look down here, all these lovely yellow things, they look like they're one of the daisies. So they're definitely in the Asteraceae family, which consists of thousands and thousands of plants. If not, it must be one of the largest families for flowers that is out there. And they are beautiful. And I am very much surprised that we're not seeing any butterflies. Actually, speaking of a butterfly, VM, look, there's one right next to you. Looks like one of the acrias. But I thought that beautiful flowers like this at the moment, because there's not too many of them, would be covered in insects, collecting pollen, feeding off of the nectar. It's actually very much unusual. How beautiful is that? Oh yes, and it's even now kindly turned to face us so we can see its beautiful wings. So you should be able to get some nice screenshots over there. That's really quite lovely. And you can see just gently opening and closing its wings as it sits on all the different grasses. And not feeding, just sort of resting at the moment. And that plant, that yellow flower that I just showed you, would be a perfect sort of energy boost for that beautiful butterfly. So perhaps it should go down there. If it is feeling a little bit weary and tired after its long journey, it would be a good spot to go through to have a little energy boost. Right, let's see what else we've got out here. It's getting a little bit difficult at the moment. We've noticed a lot of the insects are starting to disappear. We haven't been seeing really any shield bugs, a couple of grass assassins here and there. Of course, on the Weltherias, which are a couple around here, we've still got all the little caterpillars crawling around on them. None over here though. Hello, Shannon from Ohio. Now you're wondering, what would I eat, if anything, on a walk? Oh, listen to that. Where is that bearded woodpecker? Sorry, there was a... No, I can't see it. It's a bit difficult. There was a bearded woodpecker that was giving off its territorial call, which was really amazing. And it's just a pity. It's too hard to actually see it, Avia. Where is it? I think it could be in that knobthorn. If it is in that knobthorn, then we're not going to get a sight of it. Oh, well, that's okay. We'll have to ask Byron or Tristan to try and find you one then. And so, what would I eat in the bush? Well, here's something that I could eat. Let's see if I like it. Should we do the taste test? And we'll just see how well we go. Oh, before we do that, here's something delicious for you. Come take a closer look. I made it jump away now. It was a grasshopper. It looked like a very tasty grasshopper. It wasn't an elegant grasshopper, so I could eat it. It didn't have any warning colors on it. It was just really plain brown. And you could probably eat something like that, whether I'd like to eat it or not. I don't know if it's going to save my life. Probably will eat it if I'd pull many faces. But here's something. Ziziphus macronata, of course, buffalo thorn, which we see often. I don't really want to eat it, but you know what, I will. Let's see. I'm a huge fan of these leaves. I wouldn't recommend eating. I don't know how Steph does it all the time. Do you want to try one?
No, I've already had salad.
Did you already have salad? Not so great. So I don't know if I would like this. Well, that's interesting. These leaves are quite bitter and sour. These are not as nice as what they normally are. So perhaps something has been browsing upon them and has increased, well, the tannin levels in this plant. We're going to keep searching for that elephant, and I'm going to find a couple of other things that we can perhaps eat in the bush, and maybe I'll find something that I enjoy. But let's go back across to Tristan and the beautiful and mysterious Mvula.
Well, beautiful is it, and mysterious at the moment is quite true, Taylor. It's so difficult to know where he's going to pop up at the moment. He just moves all over the place. He's quite an interesting character, and like I say, the fact that he's just nomadic and really doesn't care at the moment seems to be quite interesting, the way that he just moves around with sort of abandon. He's found in the most random places over the last 3 weeks, and seems not to really care too much about Tingana and all the rest. Although I'm sure he hears at night where they're calling from. Tingana and Quarantine and Anderson, all these males will be vocalizing in the night to set up their territory, like what we saw with Tingana the other day. And so he'll hear that and probably just move in the opposite direction, and that's why we keep finding him in such random areas. But it's so nice that he's been in Djuma the last sort of 3-4 weeks. This is the second time that we've had him in about 3 weeks, so it's really good to catch up with the old guy again and see how he's doing. Now, I was looking at him now. He's not exactly full, but he does have a slight little bump on his belly there, so maybe he had something small to eat. You'll find when these leopards get much older like this, they almost start to regress in terms of what they feed on. So as a young animal, he would have been hunting small birds and small rodents, small antelope species, and then as he got stronger and more powerful and learned techniques, so he started to hunt larger, medium-sized antelope and larger antelope. Now he'll start regressing back to those smaller animals. OJP, when Mvula becomes too old to hunt, well, he's just going to start losing condition, and other predators won't hunt him per se, but if they find him, then they will kill him. So if lions, let's say, had to stumble upon him now, they would definitely try and chase him. And because he's then older and he's less agile, often they get caught and then they sustain injuries and die from that. But if he gets too old to hunt, what he's going to start doing is, instead of focusing on things like impalas and duiker and steenbok and those kind of things, he's going to start hunting slower moving animals. So that's when you start to see them going after porcupines, aardvarks, They start to hunt those kind of animals that are very slow moving, and they'll try and eat that. And once that even becomes a problem, then they even will start resorting to eating things like insects and scavenging as well. So he'll try and find old carcasses and try and feed off those. So it just depends on what's around. And eventually then he even just starts to lose so much condition because he's not getting the nutrients that he used to get, that it becomes very difficult for him to move around. And then either he passes away from malnutrition, or he gets killed by another leopard or lion or hyena, and they then eat him. Mohammed, leopards in this area, generally the males will live to about between 12 and 14 years, sometimes a little bit older. I have seen older males that have gone to 15, 16, but that's not the norm at all. This particular male that you see now is 12 years old. He was born in 2005 in the southern part of the Sabi Sands. So he's on the upper end of his sort of life expectancy. The females are much longer. They tend to live to sort of 16, 17 years. The oldest female that I've personally seen in the Sabi Sands, she was 19 and a half when she died. So she was very, very old. And I actually saw another female called the Tavangumi female, which occurred in the central parts of the Sabi Sands. And when I saw her, she was 17, but she eventually died at 20. So that's very, very old. If you read books on leopards or you look on the internet, you'll find that even in captivity, where an animal's life is far less harsh than what it is out here, these animals only live really to 21 maximum in captivity, where food is being provided, veterinary care is being provided. So it's a very different situation to what we have here, where an animal is trying to move around and find its own food and having to fight for territories. So for a leopard to live to that lifespan in an area like this that is so dense with leopard is absolutely phenomenal. Now, the one leopard that I was talking about, that was the 19-and-a-half-year-old leopard, was Safari, which is the mother of Karula. So it's that lineage. So hopefully Karula continues and carries on well into her late teens, and then we get many more years of her, because Karula's just turned 13, so she's also starting to get a little bit older, but she doesn't show the signs nearly as much as what the males do. The males have a much more violent lifestyle. They're competing for territories a lot more, and they fight with one another a lot more than what the females do, and that's why they end up looking so battered and bruised and scarred. Right, so we've been talking about Mvula and how he's going to hunt and food and what's going to happen as he gets older. Now, hopefully Taylor, who's out on a walk and is looking for food, is having a little bit more success than what Mvula will have as he gets older.
No, Tristan, I've got distracted. I saw a red zinnia, and then I tried to make another whistle, which I failed miserably at. So I go, oh no, why are the flies attacking me today? Get away. Horrible creatures. No, they're not horrible. They're very important to have around, of course, in the environment. So I shan't kill them all. Sometimes I'm really, really terrible at making these whistles, so we'll just get rid of that one. Okay. Right, we're still looking for things to eat. Oh, hang on. This is a young buffalo thorn. Now I want to try the difference of a brand new leaf. This is a tiny little one. But Liam and I were discussing perhaps that the buffalo thorn leaves will be really tasty with some honey and mustard dressing. We could maybe even take the seeds from the Panicum maximum. Why do people eat this stuff? Not nice. It really is not nice. Even if you were to maybe deep fry those, sort of crisp them up, sprinkle them over the honey and mustard infused buffalo thorn leaves, don't eat it. I would just say, there's nothing really tasty. It's terrible. It's really not nice. I don't even want to swallow it. Oh God. I couldn't even swallow it anymore. You know what it tastes like? It tastes like I've got mosquito repellent or something in my mouth. That's what the taste that I'm getting off of the buffalo thorn is. They're very, very tanniny today. I'm not sure why. Normally they're okay. I don't pull faces when I eat a buffalo thorn. And those panicum seeds that I grabbed, not the tastiest either. Should we eat a caterpillar? No, I'm not. Don't get excited because there's no ways I'm eating a caterpillar. Just checking the wealth areas. Now, I do apologize if I do have panicum seeds in my teeth. I'm probably going to have a few of them, but come and have a look here. There's a couple of things. we've got some caterpillars. Now, where did you go? There was one. I've lost it. Yeah, here it is. Look how yellow it is. It's actually really beautiful with an ant, which I'm to, but I'm not going to eat it. I'll just leave it carry on with its day. Now, talking about caterpillars and things like that, this one I don't know if I would particularly eat. I don't think it would be too tasty. But Amanda, our chef, I'm just taking all the grass seeds out of my mouth now because it's not great. She brought some mapani worms, which was an interesting topic in the kitchen. It was actually quite funny to see everybody's reaction when they saw a bag of mapani worms, which is, of course, a traditional delicacy out here in South Africa, in Zambia, right through to northern Africa, all the African countries. It's really quite lovely, and they seem to like it. I've now eaten them deep fried. I've eaten them dried on a tin roof. I've eaten them both a number of times. I don't like them. They're not for me. Also, got a strange taste, but I also can't separate the fact that it was a caterpillar at one point, and it's not that delicious and tasty. But some people like it. I don't know if James likes it. I can imagine James has tried a few. You know who I think might surprise us and actually enjoy it is Brent. Brent has eaten the most bizarre things, particularly when he was living in Gabon. He's told some strange tales of the things he's had to feast upon. So I think if he saw a bag of mapani worms, he would be quite excited to stuff his hands straight in that bag and stuff his face full of them. But let's go across to Tristan now, seeing as I've been discussing everybody else and about whether they like mapani worms or not. Let's go ask Tristan if he enjoys those tasty treats.
Well, Taylor, I can honestly say that I do not enjoy them at all. I find them to be not the tastiest thing out there. It's not so much the taste, actually, it's more the texture. These kind of chewy, crunchy, it's horrible. I just can't eat them, to be honest. But I'm not sure Brent would enjoy them. He's very sort of into his culinary side of things. He's often doing cooking and experimenting in the kitchen, so I'm not sure that he would. If he had to, I would imagine that Brent would eat it. If he was stuck in some area and that was all that there was around, no doubt that he would. But I think if he has a choice, he's rather going to prepare some delicious dish that he doesn't involve worms or caterpillars, actually, as it so happens to be. And it was very funny because Amanda, who's our chef, she had a bag of them in the kitchen the other day, and she was offering them all around, and there was some very, very funny looks given to Amanda and very, very funny looks given to all of us that have tried them. And we tried to get Connor, who does the drone and is a part of our tech team, to try them, and he refused point blank. He said no ways. And then we asked Megan, who's also in final control, and she said there's not a chance either. So I think maybe what we need to do is actually start laying down the challenge. I believe Megan did eventually eat one. And what was the outcome, Rebecca? Did she enjoy it or not so much? Because she was quite flabbergasted to see that we actually ate them. But they aren't the most delicious things. So, Megan, if you didn't like them, I don't blame you at all. But well done for trying. That's very good. It's nice when we get some people that are a little bit of a sports in. They try these things. It's, all part of being out here is you've got to learn and you've got to see and you've got to sort of taste things and work out for yourself what you like and what you don't like, and it's, like I say, it's all part of it. So very, very interesting. Well done, Megan. I'm very proud of you. I didn't think you would actually do it. Now, Mvula, I don't think he would really like mapani worms at all, although maybe in his old age he'll start to feed off them. But for now, he is absolutely comatose, sleeping, and I reckon he's staying here for a reason. He's sitting on the edge of this sort of clearing, and I earlier saw some impalas drifting across the clearing in the background, and so maybe he knows that if he stays right where he is now, because Sydney's dam is behind us, this open clearing is here, there are going to be a few animals that are going to start moving into this clearing as it starts to get darker, and so it's a good place for him to potentially hunt. He's got a lot of tree structure on the edge here, and then a open grassland area that he's able to then launch an attack from during the night. And probably the most incredible leopard hunt that I've seen on impalas was involving this leopard. It was near Chitwa Airstrip, on that western side of Chitwa Airstrip that's nice and open, and so there really isn't too much cover for a leopard. Generally a leopard would be an ambush predator, try get very, very close, stalk in, and he, on that particular occasion, hunted almost like a cheetah. He started to move, and he kind of got to the edge of this clearing, and the impala were, I would say, maybe about 100 meters from where he was, which is quite far for a leopard. And instead of trying to stalk closer, he just exploded out at a full sprint, and the impala completely panicked. I don't think they expected it to happen like that, and they all just bombshelled out, and we had impalas running everywhere, and one made the fatal flaw of running straight into him, and he was able to then grab that impala and pull it down. It was quite something to watch. It was a very interesting strategy that he used. And then I asked a number of other guides, and they had all seen him doing a similar kind of thing. So now in his older age, I don't think he's going to be able to do it, but in his youth it was an interesting tactic that he had. So maybe that's why he's here. It's just, as they say, old habits die hard, so it could be because of that. Right, now talking about airstrips and hunting and these kind of things, let's go across to Byron and see if his romantic couple is doing anything on Arathu's airstrip.
Tristan, I don't know if you meant that Dave and I are the romantic couple, or if the lions are the romantic couple. They haven't moved, everyone. They're still resting and conserving some energy. Every now and then the heads pop up, but I'm sure we are going to see some activity from them at some point. Now, there have been a few vultures that have been soaring around above them, and I think purely because they've seen the lions out in the open. So they're just having a look to see if there's any potential food. There goes one. It looked like hooded vultures. And off it goes again. You know what, Dave? I've actually seen one in the tree. I think that one's going to go and land. Oh, wow. Well done. Look at that. Great. There we go. Two hooded vultures sitting in the tree. And a starling wanting to be a vulture. So their eyesight is incredible, and these vultures, when they do see predators lying out in the open like this, then they'll usually go and investigate to see is there potentially food to scavenge off of. But not in this case. It's just two lions lying out in the open enjoying this cool weather that we are having. Now, Taylor's being very brave this afternoon. She's found a rather large animal she'd like to show you that on foot, which is very exciting.
Byron, not just one, an entire herd of elephants just through there. Now we're just keeping an eye out because there's actually a big elephant bull as well, which I'd like to try and have a look. Should we go and see him? Come with us quickly. Now, I'm just obviously keeping my voice down because the wind is swirling slightly at the moment. So we don't have the wind in our favor. Oh, he's moved. Oh, perfect. So we had this young elephant bull come through the bushes, and he actually started tracking us. He was smelling us. But he's gone down now to where the girls are, which is great. That's what we wanted. So we can come back to our original spot now. Where did he go? Look. An entire herd of ellies just feeding in the drainage line. He looks like he's having a drink. There's a big elephant bull. He's moved really quickly. And I think he's found himself a little natural spring, or they've dug up a hole in the sand because it's quite sandy down there. It looked like he was having a drink of water. But we'll just watch him. I'm watching him as you watch the other elephants, because he's the one that's interested in us. He keeps picking up on our scent, and I'm sure that they can hear us a little bit, because of course the wind does make our voices travel too. So I'm not talking very loudly, not my normal loudness. At least this is a serious whisper for me. But they are so relaxed. They are not bothered by us at all. Feeding. It is really, really quite wonderful. I would love to try and get a view of this elephant bull having a drink of water, but we'll just wait for the breeding herd just to move on a little bit further. Look how that one's climbing up the hill now, that little one. Because they could change direction again. And I don't want to be too close to the breeding herd, so we'll let them go. And then possibly we can maybe reposition and get slightly closer just so that we can have a view of the big elephant bull. But they're having a great time. And, often you get a bit nervous when you find a breeding herd and you find a bull that's tailing the breeding herd, because it can often upset the herd. And then you find them pushing and shoving at each other around, sort of panicking, sort of very erratic movements. And that's sort of a bit silly to try and get yourself into one of those situations, especially when you're on foot. It's one thing in the car, you can drive faster than these animals, you can drive over small trees, but when you're on foot, you really have to be careful and make sure you have your wits about you all the time. And as we're standing here, I'm constantly checking the wind, listening to the other elephants that are moving around in the distance. He's drinking water, yeah. Should we try reposition, Herbie? Let's try reposition, because I think we'll be alright. Maybe we'll get another view. I'd love to show you this elephant drinking water. It's beautiful. Now, you see I'm just, with my little eye drop bottle, spraying out some ash. See, it's very faint. It's sort of very, very slowly drifting towards them, but it keeps swirling. And this is now the third or fourth time that it has changed. Laurie, you said wow, that this is amazing. It is quite fantastic, isn't it? Let's see. What do you think? You want to go straight? Just obviously chatting to Herbie about our plans. He wants us to go around this way. And that bull is still drinking water, and he's on his own. Let's see, I think stick with us for a little bit. We're not going to go too much closer, we're just trying to find a little lookout point. And I'd love to show you how he drinks water. Let's see. Come look, how cool is this? Now, it's a bit tough for you to see at the moment, but he's just through the trees. You'll just see his tusks. There he is. So he's obviously dug himself a little hole. Whether he actually did it himself, I'm actually not so certain. I think that the elephant cows were down here. And you know what elephants are like. They love the freshest, the coolest, the tastiest water. So they will often use their big tusks to loosen the sand, along with their feet and their trunks to scoop out the sand and dig these massive wells into the ground. And the water table is very, very high at the moment, which is really nice. So all this lovely, fresh, cold water comes streaming out of the ground, and that's what the elephants were drinking. And I think as the bull came through, that drew his attention away from the girls, and he thought, well, let me have a nice sip of aqua to cool myself down on this lovely day. And I think the girls are happy about that, because it's given them an opportunity to get a move on too, and hopefully they'll move further enough away from him, because they can be a bit of a bother sometimes. He's not a particularly big bull. He's large, but not as big as some of the others that we have seen. How cool is that, though? We'll see if we can reposition and maybe we can get another view. But speaking of course, the girls running away from the boys, I think it's by time we go back across to Byron and see how those lions are doing.
Taylor, what are you trying to say about girls running away from boys? Oh dear. Anyway, we are still sitting with these lions. They haven't moved yet. I'm waiting very, very patiently, and as some of you know, I always say patience pays off in the bush. So I'm hoping that we do get some mating activity from these lions. And we'll see. We've got a beautiful view though from here. Lovely, just open clearings around us. And there's a lot of activity. I mean, those jackal settled down. They're still lying not far from us. The impala. And there's a lapwing. It's a crowned lapwing. Quite a few lapwings out in these open areas. A crowned lapwing, and there seem to be some other ones off to our left. Let's just have a look just down here, Dave. Let's see. What is that? A ground scraper thrush. A little ground scraper thrush, that's nice. More crowned lapwings around. And there's also, just off to the left a little bit, and through there. Sorry, just down there, Dave. Down. Sorry, on the ground there, and then that is a Senegal lapwing. So it's a different lapwing. The Senegal lapwing, the crowned lapwing, and the ground scraper thrush, all around here. So a lot of bird activity, which is great. Some different birds. Oh, nice to see the ground scraper thrush. It's very peaceful here at the moment. I'm glad Taylor got to see those elephant on foot. That's always exciting, and I love that. I hope you are all having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday, wherever you are, and enjoying the show with us. That sound that we can hear, that's the Senegal lapwing that we could hear calling. Okay, now I'm going to sit with these lions a bit longer. Let's head back to Taylor with the elephant and see what is going on there.
He has gone from having a sip of water now to completely covering himself in that lovely, cool, muddy water. He's sucking up water now. You can see he's actually just playing. Every now and then he sprays it over his head. You can see that he's a little bit more of a different colour. And I think he's just having a great time. And I always say this, the happiest I've ever seen elephants is that when they're either in water or surrounded by it. Either way, they absolutely love it. Now, even on a day like today, it's overcast. It's not particularly hot. There's no wind either. Very, very, as you saw, it's very, very gentle breeze blowing out at the moment. But he still needs to cover himself. These biting flies and the ticks at the moment are an absolute nightmare. So, even on the cold days, they're still going to cover themselves with as much mud as they can. And there's definitely a lot of opportunities for them to use the mud wallows now. They are all about, there's not much water left in them, so they're actually the perfect consistency of sort of sludge now, muddy sludge, which perfectly coats the elephant, gives them that nice polished look as well. This one has got on his head. And if the sun was shining down on them, I always find elephants so beautiful after they've had either a swim or they've covered themselves in mud. They always look so gorgeous, gleaming and glittering in the light. It's really lovely. I think he's almost done. Let's see. What is going to be your next move, boy? I'm just, every now and then I'm going to go quiet just to listen to the other elephants. Now, Stephen, you're wondering how many elephants can I identify individually? Well, in this particular herd, I'm not sure of the herd, but it's a relatively large herd. There must be at least maybe 20 of them here, excluding this big bull. But I think we just saw the tail then. Most of the herd had already moved off. There he goes. Let's see where he's going to go. But you know who's an easy elephant to identify is Daryl, the elephant with a big Snapchat bell shape cut out of his ear, and as well as Fang, Benjamin Button. They're all really, really easy to identify. And the longer you stare at elephants, the more different that you see they are. It's the same thing with hyenas and leopards. Only after a while do we realize how easy they are to tell apart. But it takes a bit of practice. And I used to be able to see this with a particular breeding herd down in the Eastern Cape. And I know I talk about the Eastern Cape a lot, but I spent many years down there. We're just going to move out now. We can't see him. And there was only this one herd. Well, there were two herds of elephants. We got to know them very, very well. And there was one female that had massive eye. It almost like her head, her frontal lobe sort of looked like it was pushing out. And, right, so Herbie's just saying we must go back this way. We'll go back this way. And, what is he doing? Is he having a dust bath? Oh no, he's climbing up the bank. There he is. Have another look at him. He's actually listening to us at the moment. And it was so cool, because you could tell the difference between almost every single elephant, and it was really nice. And they all were slightly different. Some were hairier than others. Some had more protrusions. They big, almost looked like they had big eyebrows sticking out. Skew tusks, you name it, all different identifying features. But we're going to leave this herd now. We're going to move out of this thick area. We'll probably go towards Vuyatela Dam, but it seems as though Mvula has woken up for his slumber. Let's go take another look at him.
Indeed he has. He's woken up a little bit, but it's not too awake just yet. He's just watching what's going on. There was that herd of impala that I was talking about way down in the distance that was moving around, and I think he's just watching them. Now, I can't actually see them at the moment, but these animals have the most incredible senses, and they're able to pick up things long before we do. So maybe he's just spotting that and working out what his plan is going to be for the afternoon. We also had a sort of change around of vehicles, which could have woken him up a little bit as well. You can see he's just grooming himself a little bit. There's been a bit of yawning, which is all good signs that he might start to wake up a little bit. So let's see how we go. There we go. You see the yawn? Now, it's often a sign that he might stand up and move. There we go. Now, unfortunately, he's walking the wrong way at this stage. He's moving to the north, which is going to be out of our area if he crosses over the road. Now, there are other vehicles around. You might hear them moving. Dolly, you're wondering if leopards recognize their mothers after being away. Well, I'm sure they recognize the scent, but there's no attachment to the mothers once they leave and become go on their own. Now, in the case of Mvula, his mother unfortunately has passed away. She's no longer alive, but she was right down in the south, and if she had come across him, it's potentially they would have recognized one another, but I don't think there would have been too much in the way of recognizing or sort of worrying about it. I have seen sons mating with their mothers before, so they're sort of recognizing gets outweighed by the want to mate. I'm just trying to get around so that I can actually see him from the front. I'm hoping that he's going to sort of just carry on with the road. So there we go, you can see him there.
Yeah, it should be north to south. Oh, so that's amazing that Mvula has got up and he's moving around. I think Tristan just lost some signal there for a second, but he will be back shortly. He'll try and stick with Mvula. Dave and I are just doing some orientation around here and working out north and south and west, because I know James was out in this area the other day and he was looking at the rocky outcrops just off to our west or southwest, and I recognize that area very, very well because that is Londolozi, and to our southwest, and let's see if we can get that rocky outcrop. There it is. Now that is Shimpalapala, the rocky outcrop on the northern section of Londolozi, and I've walked up there many times with guests. It's a beautiful view from up there, and then everything further south, and just directly behind that outcrop is Singita. So Singita is basically behind that, not too far from there. You can see those clearings in the background. That's all on Singita. And then Londolozi is to the south of that. Amazing to see everything from these different properties. And the more time you spend out here, you get to know the areas a lot better. So it's great to see. These lions have not moved, everyone. They are still resting, and I did think they would get active a lot sooner because it is much cooler, but not just yet. That's okay. We're in no rush. Fortunately, we can sit here for quite some time. Doesn't sound like too many people are interested in the sighting for the moment. I'm sure a lot of people got to see them this morning, so they're looking for other animals now. But the patience does pay off, as we know. So we'll sit here for a while and see what they get up to. You can see those beautiful big paws of that male. And nice to see those big paws, and linking back to those tracks that we had earlier. Now, like I said, those tracks that we saw looked like they were possibly from yesterday or early this morning. So it may in fact have been this male that walked along the road and headed down into onto the airstrip. Ah, Elizabeth, you want to know how long do the lion claws get? Now, the lion claws, well, probably, especially the dew claw. The dew claw is that very strong, powerful thumb claw, or the back claw, and that usually is the largest and most powerful. Now, a dew claw of a lion can probably get to a few centimeters, about that size, maybe a bit bigger. Very, very long, thick claw, probably about that thick and about that long, that I have seen. So they get but incredibly sharp, and then the other claws also fairly long but very curved, sharp claws. So yeah, that's about as long as they can get. I think Tristan has got some signal back. Let's head back to him and Mvula and see where that leopard is going.
We do indeed. So we're in a difficult area, so I do apologize for the little bit of breakup that we have had. But the good news is Mvula is mobile and moving around, and he is basically doing a loop, and he's starting to come now from behind where we saw those impalas. So he's almost at the back side of them. They walked off into the sort of little thicket here. So I wonder if he's not just on the trail of them, having a look where they've gone. So interesting to see how he's moving. I'm going to try and keep up with him, because if he crosses into that bush there, it's going to be very difficult to keep up with him because of the nature of the grass at the moment. You can see, look, there's a leopard.
Dear, it looks like Tristan's having a lot of problems with the signal at the moment, but that's okay, don't worry. It just means you stuck with me for a little bit longer, everyone. I do apologize for that. And Dave and I are enjoying this sighting very much. It's so peaceful. It's really, really wonderful just to sit and watch these lions. And then if you have a look, actually, they're beautiful sun rays coming through the clouds at the moment. Let's see if we can get them for you. A bit further left. It's a bit difficult on camera. There we go. There you see those sun rays. There, look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Lovely silhouette of the trees and the sun rays coming through. Birds chirping, Senegal lapwings. Just scanning around the whole time just to see if anything else pops out, because you never know. What do you see? Oh, look at that. I wonder what that is. Is that perhaps a fire in the distance? I must be honest, it does look like a fire, Dave. I'm judging by the size of that bit of smoke coming up there. But I can tell you, let me just see. Judging by where it is coming from, that is just outside of the game reserve and in a community. So perhaps there's a building or something. The bush is far too green at the moment to be burning, so I think that is coming from a community outside of the game reserve. Perhaps something else is burning there, or maybe they are burning trash or garbage. Sometimes the best way to recycle certain garbage is to burn it. So that could potentially be that. I'm not sure, but that is definitely outside of the game reserve. It's a long way away from here, wow. But yeah, that's definitely just outside of the game reserve. So I think we're going to drive around a little bit on Arethusa. Let's see what else we can find. I'll return to the lions a bit later. Hopefully they do get active. Let's head across to Taylor, who's left the elephant, and see what she is walking into or walking around.
Sitting at the moment, not walking into anything, just sitting. My legs are tired. I thought I'd just have a quick little break and slack off a little bit. But no, we haven't. We've actually come to a mud wallow where we have found a very sad scene over here. As you can see, this is a very young leopard tortoise that was obviously coming down to the steep embankment to come for a drink and lost its footing. Its 4x4 gauge didn't engage and it went tumbling down. And this is of course nature. This is what sometimes happens, is that it obviously tipped upside down and then ended up drowning. And you can see where it was actually kicking, and it's very sad, of course. This isn't nice to see, but this is one of those things. You can see where it was kicking, trying to desperately turn itself over. I think this happened today. Oh, it's alive! You're alive! I don't know, can I help it?
Sure, why not?
I don't know what to do. I'm going to. I'm turning it over. I'm helping it out. It's alive, tortoise. There we go. Off you go. Not supposed to do things like that, but I've done it anyway. Reprimand me if you will. I couldn't let that tortoise just sit there, of course. This is a little bit different. We can't help the zebra and things like that. It's almost impossible to help something like that. You've got to get vets in. But this big mud wallow is right next to the road, so I thought that we would just give it a little helping hand. Tortoise, it is your lucky day. Now, you can see there's a lot of mud here. Come on, stick your head out for us. Let's get rid of some of it. This is really cool. It's actually not the first time I've saved a tortoise from a mud wallow before. I have also saved one, a massive, really big leopard tortoise that was stuck in the cracks in a rut caused by vehicles driving up and down on the road. I'm so glad. Tortoise, you are very lucky, my friend. Very lucky today. And it's obviously frightened to absolute death at the moment because, well, it's had its head under in the mud. And I think the elephants had also come around here and had splashed around a bit earlier today. I want to just move it a little bit more. Tortoise, I'm now covered in stinky mud. But there we go. And well, there's a happy story for the tortoise. There we go, everybody. Tortoise Rescue 101, that's how we do it. We actually used to do it a lot when we would burn. Okay, well, just get dirty. Don't tell my mom I'm wiping my hands on my pants. She'll have an absolute heart attack if she hears I'm still doing things like that. So when we were burning a lot in the southern sectors, and that's something that you do, they don't really burn too much up here to get rid of the yellow thatching grass and the encroaching species, is we used to have a vehicle dedicated to driving around and rescuing the tortoises. Because obviously when you put a fire through, natural or man-made, like the ones that we were doing for conservation, you can imagine reptiles do get stuck. And tortoises, very slow moving, not able to always, well, make it out alive. So we would drive around and collect tortoises that were trying to flee the fire, put them in the back of a car and pour water over them to keep them nice and cool. And then once the fire was finished and everything was put out, we would then release them later on that day. So I've done many a tortoise rescue missions, and especially because it's of course a leopard tortoise, and we see them very often, but I love them. I used to have 2 leopard tortoises, so they have a very special spot in my heart. I can't say no to one of those, but of course you shouldn't really pick up things and assist them all the time, but I couldn't help myself over there. I had to, of course, engage in that tortoise. It was struggling, it was still alive, and all it needed was a little turnover, and it would have been able to have climbed out itself too. But I just thought I'd give it, well, a little helping hand. Right, so we're going to go across to Byron now. Sadly he's had to leave the lions, but I'm sure he'll inform you as to why he had to do that. I'm sure just because there's lots of other guides on the property. Let's jump back across into the funny man's vehicles and find out if he's got any jokes for you on the Sunday afternoon.
Hi everyone again. Yes, I'm Byron, and with me on camera is Dave this afternoon, for those of you who are just joining us. So we've had a wonderful afternoon so far. Lions and jackal It's been great on the airstrip, but I'm driving around now just to see if we can't bump into anything else. Maybe wandering around. And Taylor, you wanted me to tell a joke. You can't catch me off guard like that. It's got to just happen. But I'll think of one. Let's see what else we can find though. Lovely afternoon. The temperature's definitely cooling down quite a bit now. So 24 degrees Celsius or 74 degrees Fahrenheit, which is quite cool for us out here, but it's lovely. And I'm very excited because it means we're moving into autumn. We're moving towards winter, and I love winter in the bush. It really, really is great. And nice and cool temperatures. Sit around the fire. Got to sit around the fire last night actually, which was lovely. What do you say? We say braai. We bride. We cooked our meat on the fire or barbecued. Some of you might use the word barbecue. So I cooked dinner for everyone last night. Can you believe it? There was a lot of hesitation in the camp, a lot of nervous onlookers, but everyone survived, and they said it was quite good. But I do enjoy braaiing. It's a great South African pastime, I think. James, which tree is going to turn those beautiful brown, orange, and or darker green colors for autumn first, do you think? I wonder. The autumn colors. So which tree first? I think probably a lot of the combretum trees, most likely. So the red bush willow or the russet bush willow. I think a lot of those will probably turn brown and those reddish yellow colors probably first. I'll try to find a combretum tree for you. I'll show you one now, and then in a few weeks we'll have a look and see which ones. But I think one of the combretum or the bush willow trees. Ah, look what we've got ahead. Some wildebeest. That's good news. Some wildebeest, or the old faithful gnu, as they are known. Nice to see a herd of them around. I was just thinking that I haven't seen some wildebeest around for the last little while I've been here. Let me stop here for a second. There's some youngsters lying down at the moment. There we go. Now that is great. There's also impala in the background, so there's a lot going on here. A nice bit of light coming through the clouds at the moment. Now we know the impala and the wildebeest all have a strict breeding season, which was breeding season is April, May, so we're approaching that very soon for a lot of these animals, but you can still see a lot of the youngsters. And now the impala grow very quickly, so a lot of the young impala are very close to adult size already. They would have been born in about November last year, but these wildebeest, a lot of the young wildebeest were born in probably December, January. And we did see a lovely herd on Djuma for quite some time, with all these young wildebeest calves. And but look at that light now coming through. Beautiful light, sunlight. Now it's interesting. I mean, these wildebeest are basically just on the opposite end of the airstrip from where the lions are. And I think if those lions head off in this direction later, they may try and hunt something, impala or wildebeest. However, what these animals do is they'll come out into the middle of the airstrip or hang around in these open areas so that they can see those predators coming very easily. And it's highly unlikely that they would be able to make a kill out in the open, because these animals will be able to move away and run off and warn each other. That's also why you often get to see the impala, wildebeest, and occasionally zebra. They'll stay on the clearings together, and that's to warn each other. They also feed on the same vegetation, so there's no competition really between them. Oh, let's see. That wildebeest is going to dust bathe the one off to the left. There we go. It was digging up some sand. Is it just going to lie there, or is it going to roll around? They do dust bathe a lot, and that again is to protect their skin and get rid of ticks and fleas that sit on them. A lot of animals dust bathe, and we've seen elephant do it a lot too, where they'll go and pick up sand and throw sand or dust. There we go. There, it's rolling around. This elephant, as I was saying, throws sand on their backs a lot, and that's to help regulate temperature a little bit, cool them down, but mainly to get rid of fleas and that sit on the skin. I was hoping it would roll around a bit more. And interesting thing with the males, male wildebeest are very territorial, so they will set up small territories for themselves. And usually what happens is once they've set up a territory, and it's usually in an open clearing, maybe with a little water hole or something close by. They do need water, so if there's a water hole close by, that's great for them. But then there are two other things that they do need in their territory, or that they want in their territory, and the one is a rubbing post. So they'll find a little tree or branch that they're able to go and rub up against and scratch themselves. And the other one you'll see a lot of is basically a dust bath area. So a little sandy patch that the male's probably scratched up, and he will roll around. And there's another one dust bathing just off to the right. There we go. It was rolling. Let's see if it does it again. And those males will go and roll around in that little wallow. And they'll dust bathe, and they'll wear that little patch out quite substantially over time. But those are the things that are needed for a wildebeest to have a good little spot of territory. Now I'm going to move on from here, but Tristan has managed to stick with Mvula. Let's go and see what that beautiful leopard is up to.
Well, he's just sitting in the long grass and he's watching. He got quite close to that herd of impala that I was talking about, and they all started to alarm and go crazy, but they were facing the opposite direction. So I don't know if maybe there's another leopard in this area. I haven't been able to check around too much because I'm scared we're going to lose him, but I think that maybe that young male that Taylor saw could also be here. Now, wouldn't it be incredible if we get Sindile and Mvula in the same sighting? Now, that's a wish that we shall hope and pray for, but it seems at this stage that he's just going to sit and watch these impalas and see how they are. Now, for those of you that have just joined us, my name is Tristan, and on camera I've got Craig, and like I say, we are live with Mvula, the male leopard. He's one of the oldest males that we have here, and it's really a treat to see him. We don't see him that often. So if you are a new viewer and you want to know anything about the leopards, please send through your questions at #SafariLive. And even if you're not a new viewer, if you have any questions about Mvula and you haven't seen him in a while, please be sure to ask us at chat with us and let us know how you feel about seeing him again. It is really, really, really good that he's back in this area. And like I say, I'm sure there's another leopard because there's no wind to speak of, so I don't think those impalas could have smelt him. And the impalas that alarmed call were quite far from where he's lying now. And I went a little bit and checked a little bit there, but I didn't see anything. So I wonder if maybe there's not another leopard that is hiding out somewhere in these thickets. Right, so we're going to stay with Mvula and see if he starts hunting these impalas. And while we do that, I believe Taylor is in the middle of a postcard scene on Djuma.
We are indeed. This could be Wild Earth's next Christmas card with a cat's tail grass, the beautiful view of Vuyatela Dam and the last of the golden light. And wasn't that beautiful that we managed to just literally get a gap between the clouds of about that much where we had the wonderful sun just poking its nose through. Now, of course, we're out on a bushwalk at the moment, and my name is Taylor. I've got VM on camera and, of course, Herbert standing there very handsomely, posing for everybody this afternoon. I like to try and make Herbie blush all the time. And it's not just a beautiful scene that we've got out here this afternoon. We've actually got something else. Where are you? There it is. No. Now, it's actually going to be quite nice in this elephant dung, if you look very carefully. No, come back. It's now bouncing along the road. VM's going to have to play a bit of cat and mouse. I'm actually going to move away from it so I don't scare it too much. But you saw, that is a tiny little frog. And unfortunately, I can't get too close to it, otherwise it keeps running away. But it's about the size of my thumb. My thumbnail, that is. It is teeny tiny, so I'm thinking that it's possibly a sand frog. Maybe the tremolo sand frog. You can actually see it's actually breathing quite heavily at the moment, so it's a little bit nervous. It's okay, it's very brave being out here, of course, as well, in the big wide world with all the different birds that are around that would be possibly snatching it up. That is a lovely shot, VM. That is really, really wonderful. Now, what would be nice is that if we could find a reed frog sitting on a piece of grass so we can do a silhouetted shot over the dam, but I think that could also be asking a little bit too much. But this is a tiny little critter that would be going after things like insects. There's lots of insects at the moment. Actually, if you take a look towards the water's surface, you'll actually see it almost looks like it's got waves, it's moving. There's lots of tiny little ripples. And those are all little bugs. The bigger splashes that you might see every now and then will be catfish and frogs and terrapins coming to the surface to snatch up some of those insects on top of the water. Some of them could also be fishing spiders moving around, which is very lovely to see. I'm enjoying those fishing spiders. Bye, frog. Yes, go to the grass where it's a little bit safer. I think it's quite silly that it's sitting out in the middle of the open. Luckily, it has got very, very good not eyesight. What was I going to say? I've now completely forgotten what I was going to say. Anyways, Rebecca has said we can go and have a different view from the dam cam. Let's take a look now. Ah, you see us walking? Wave, Herbie. Wave. VM also have to wave. He can't. Hey, see, he's so good he doesn't need to have two hands on the camera. But yes, we are standing here on the dam wall now, just having a beautiful look at the scenery, and it's actually a lovely spot. I reckon for a guest to come and have sundowners down here would be absolutely stunning. Maybe not looking towards the lodge, but maybe from the other side. But this little natural pan that is now filled up is really, really quite something. And I hope it lasts. I actually was hoping the other day that we had a bit of rain. I thought we were going to get some lovely big rain, maybe 20 or 30 mils of it, so that it would top up this water level. But this should last quite a while. I reckon the temperature is definitely dropping, so the water is not evaporating as fast of a rate as what it was. Also, there are now many different dams. VM, please don't walk off of the edge of the dam wall. Because, oh wait, should we show them where the elephant? Come look at it. Actually, we found something funny that I have to show all of you. We're going back towards the frog now. But we were just saying how the elephants lately, and we saw it at Treehouse Dan, we've seen it here. The elephants all going up the steep bank. It's like they're enjoying the exercise or the challenge. But look at this. I'm not going to imitate the elephant this time because it is exceptionally steep. Look at this. Whether it was youngsters going up and down here or a big elephant bull that was desperately trying to get towards the herd, or perhaps he was thirsty after a long day's walk, who knows? But they were going up and down this massive steep slope, and if I were to try and do this, I would end up on my bottom and tumble all the way down, not to my death, but it would be very sore and I'd have a couple of bruises on me too, so we won't be demonstrating that today. It's really lovely. This is really, really spectacular, and I kid you not, a scene that we've got at the moment, the lodge, the hardy-dass calling, the ripples on the water, the golden light, it really is breathtaking, and I hope that you all took a couple of screenshots. Remember to hashtag Safari Live with them. But we're going to go across to Tristan now, who has also got a similar view, but he's looking up at the sky.
We are indeed. Is that not the most spectacular sky? But Taylor, we have one thing better than your picture postcard sky, and that is in the little right-hand corner there is Mvula sleeping under this beautiful skyline. So it really is quite something just to be sitting with this wild leopard under these clouds with the sun illuminating the cloud structure. It's a very, very pretty scene. Now, it would be nice if he was a little bit more out in the open and you could see him a bit better. Imagine if he was in a tree with this as a backdrop. That would be quite something. But nonetheless, it's still really, really great to be spending so much quality time with him. Now, he's just sleeping at the moment because I'm sure he's knows that these impalas have alarm called and that they're on very high alert. So what he's doing is he's just resting. He knows they're not going to go far. They're going to be staying close to this open area. And so he's just sleeping, waiting until they rest a little bit and they get more relaxed, and then he'll start probably hunting again. So it's worth sticking with him for a little bit longer. I know he's been very, very sleepy at long stages of this afternoon, but it is worth staying with him a little bit longer. I'm sure he is going to start hunting again just now. Reese, the health ailments that the leopards will go through. Well, as males get a little bit older, there's a number of things that start to happen. First, they do wear down their claws and their teeth. So from all these years of crunching down on bones and these carcasses, their teeth start to wear down, and then that becomes very, very difficult for them to feed properly. They start to really battle to shear off pieces of meat, and then they use their tongue to try and kind of lick pieces off, but they don't really get the same nutrition. They also go through a phase where the muscle starts to break down a little bit, their joints start to swell up, and they start to get to, much like a human, their sort of range of movement gets less and less as ligaments start to calcify and get a little bit more sort of rigid. And after that, once they start to get more stiff and less range of movement, they struggle to be able to hunt. So they get into a situation where they can't chase animals effectively, and therefore they're not getting the nutrients that they need. And then they really go through this phase where there's just absolute muscle dystrophy. So their body basically consumes themselves to try and stay alive, and they basically break down their own muscle because there's no fat left or no fat deposits, and they're not gaining enough nutrients from the food, so they basically digest themselves and the muscle breaks down completely, and then you get a situation where the skin is just basically draped over bones, and from there this poor male leopard will then be too fatigued and too tired to be able to go after anything, and he would then pass away from that. So there's quite a number of things. They also come into contact with younger males that are fitter, and sometimes they fight with them, so they get lots of bite wounds on them. They get sort of injuries onto the feet and leg areas, and that's normally a death sentence for an old leopard. Once he's got an injured leg, he's really going to struggle with anything. So these are the kind of ailments that happen to a leopard as he gets older. It's much like us as people. It's the same thing. Our body just starts to break down after years of moving around and utilizing them. So he will be the exact same. You can see that he's very, very static at the moment. He's not moving at all. Not even the ears are flicking, and there are a number of flies today, so I'm surprised that we're not actually seeing too much movement from his ears. Oh, there we go. Now, I reckon him and the Styx female from this morning could have a competition as to who can move the least but flick the ear the most. Both of them, this morning the Styx lioness was absolutely dead still the whole morning, and then we got a few little ear flicks, and Mvula's doing a good impersonation at the moment. He's exactly the same way, not moving a muscle other than that little ear twitching every now and then. But this is the perfect place for a leopard, just to wait out the afternoon and to start to sort of wait for those darker hours to come. It's nice and thick, long grass, going to be very difficult for anything to spot them. In fact, we almost drove over him trying to find him again. And so while we were doing that, we just kind of bumped into him. So it's the same thing with the impalas. They're not going to be able to see him, and eventually they'll kind of move around and he'll be able to get really close without being seen, and then you can start to hunt. So like I say, it's worth staying with him this afternoon and worth spending time and seeing what unfolds as the evening starts to close in. Now, while we do that and we watch what he gets up to, let's go across to Byron, who I believe is forging deeper into Arethusa on the search for different critters.
I am going deeper and exploring a little bit here, Tristan, but no luck just yet. A nice little area. There's a lot of big marula trees around me at the moment. And apparently I have to reintroduce myself. Hi, I'm Byron. And Dave is on camera, so for those of you who've just joined us, we also out on drive and we saw some lions earlier. I'm going to head back to them a little bit later and see if we don't get some activity from this male and female. We'll see what else we can find. Maybe there's an elephant wandering around here somewhere, or a leopard, perhaps another leopard. That would be nice, or anything. A new antelope, different antelope. And so this area that we drive around in, now I'm trying to think exactly. The traversing that we as Wild Earth have is probably about, I would say, 4,000 hectares, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 hectares. So that is probably about call it 9,000 acres, somewhere around there. I think that's what it works out to. I think that's what we have, the traversing that we have. But we are part of a greater Kruger National Park, and these areas are all open, so the animals move freely throughout this whole area. There are no fences keeping them from moving over across onto different properties. So Paul, you were wondering if the animals were able to leave the game reserve. So this area, they would be able to move from here into Kruger and vice versa and move all over onto the different properties. However, there is a perimeter fence right around the edge of the greater Kruger Park. But a lot of those animals never see those fences because it's such a vast landscape. I mean, the entire area is probably around 3.2 million hectares, or 7 million acres, call it somewhere around there, given parts of Mozambique that are joined in and that entire game reserve. So it is a massive, massive area. It's larger than some European countries. So to have this area looked after and protected and have these animals move freely, and we don't interfere with them, which is the other exciting thing. These animals are completely self-sustaining. This is a natural habitat, a natural system. So we are purely here to view, observe, and appreciate wildlife. And that is really a magnificent thing to be able to do, and also to bring it to you live on safari every day, so that you can see what a safari is like. You don't just drive and find animals and action happens all the time. You've got to work hard, you've got to drive, you've got to look, you've got to listen to the bush and really appreciate every little thing that you see. Just like this beautiful sunset that we've actually got over here. Hold on a second, look at that little gap. Lovely sunset behind the clouds. Just peeking through. Beautiful color. See if there are any birds calling nearby that we might be able to hear. I can hear a little hornbill somewhere behind us, but very faint. And then in the distance, a little curricane button quail. Now, I mentioned this yesterday or the day before. The word curricane or currichani or curricane, everyone's got their own way of pronouncing it. I've always just said curricane. And that's a button quail. It's got that quite a deep call. Boo, boo, boo. Very interesting sound for a little button quail. I'll show you what it looks like because we don't see them very often. Let me show you quickly. It's calling in the distance. Sometimes you get a little glimpse of them when they fly out of the grass. But look how well camouflaged they are. Have a look at that. That's the little button quail. Very, very small quail, but incredibly well camouflaged. And if you have a look around us at the moment, the grass is so long, it would be very, very difficult to spot this little bird hiding in the grass. I mean, look how thick the grass is at the moment. So something like that would hide very, very well. Now, speaking of birding, this morning we were asked about the fish eagles and different eagles, and if the fish eagle female is much larger than the male. And I went and read up a little bit more about it, and because the size or the weight that is given in most of the bird books and bird apps, it's similar. However, with birds of prey, usually the females are a little bit bigger than the males. So with the fish eagle, you might be able to... Oh, hang on. We've got a little guest. Come here. Don't spray on me. Look at that. Look at that. That is beautiful. This is a little wood borer, I think. But look at little hairs all over the body. Fascinating. Beautiful, beautiful bug. Now, as I said, I think this is a wood borer beetle. A wood borer bug. I think. I stand to correction. And I'm sure some of you might have seen one of these before. I often get confused with some of the larger ones. If you do know, or if you've seen one of these, perhaps with James in the tent, let me know. But I think it's a wood borer of sorts. So as I was saying with those fish eagles, the females do tend to be a little bit bigger than the males. But it is difficult to see unless they are sitting right next to one another. You wouldn't necessarily just pick it up. Look at these beautiful antennae. Look at that. See, it just shows you there's always something happening around you in the bush. And this is such an interesting little creature. So prehistoric, actually. Almost alien-like. It's beautiful, wonderful, very, very nice. Yeah, Don, you're right. I'd say little. This is massive. I mean, have a look compared to my finger over there. How big that is. That's huge. It's a huge bug. Let's see if we... It is indeed, Lorena. It is alive. Have a look at him moving there. Don't want to disturb him too much. Look at the face. There we go. It is indeed alive. That is fascinating. Really great to see these little creatures. I'm amazed by these antennae and feelers that it has. It's also got... Interestingly, and look at this foot in the front. You see those little hooks? So they're able to climb trees and branches and hold on very, very well. And yes, you can. Look, you can see my reflection in the eye. Look at that. How cool is that? That is very, very weird. Oh my word. That is wonderful. Maybe try get a selfie. Bug reflection. And look at this very, very hard shell at the top here. I'm not going to touch him. But that shell obviously protects the head quite a lot. Definitely going to try and look up exactly what this is, what it's called. Here I've got a few insect books back at the lodge. Okay, well, we're going to move on. I'm going to head back towards those lines. It sounds like Taylor has found the Herbie Hurdy. Now, I don't know what you guys have been doing since I've been away, Taylor, but let's go and see the Herbie Hurdy.
This is the Herbie Hurdy, Herbie Hurdy, wildebeest herd, Herbie Hurdy. Ooh, yeah. I don't know why I just sang that, but I'm really excited because we came around the corner coming from the dam, and upon our arrival we knew we were going to see our lone friend, the one wildebeest, but he is smiling from ear to ear at the moment because the whole wildebeest herd is back. Whether it's the same herd of wildebeest that we saw during the TV shows with Nat Geo Wild, I'm actually not sure. It could be any herd. They're constantly passing through, the girls, but they have got lots of little ones. And let's see if, should we see if we can, we'll try and get another view again. I don't think they're going to be as relaxed as the McCurdy Hurdy, the zebras that we get. I think that was just by absolute chance. But there's a whole lot of them. They've actually moved off slightly. There must have been in total about 15 of them, or maybe even a couple of more. I couldn't see all the youngsters with the tall grass, but let's go and have a look. That was really, really nice. I'm so excited. So that's going to be nice for tomorrow morning, because I'm sure we'll be able to get much closer in the cars than we are able to get on afoot with the wildebeest. But we'll see. So again, I'm going to do the same technique I did the zebras. I'm not going to hide away. I'm just going to walk. I'm not going to walk directly towards them though. And I'll talk loudly so that we're not trying to hide away and pretend that we're stalking them. So we'll see. So we're just going to take it easy, not walk particularly fast. Just slow steps like we're walking on the moon. And as some of you may know, Viam's nickname around camp is wildebeest. Viam, how did you get that name? Long story, but okay, Viam says next fireside chat he'll tell us about how he got the nickname wildebeest. And so it could be the Wildies herd, or the Herbie herd, Herbie, I don't know what it was now, but it was one of those. But it's really quite exciting. They're actually not running away from us. They've just turned, and one or two of them have turned and are a bit uncertain. You can see them moving, but they're all there. They're just now behind some trees. They're not too bad, so we won't push them too much, also because it's getting a bit dark. It's getting to that twilight period now. The sun is pretty much about to go down behind the horizon. It's just the last light. And maybe we'll keep approaching these wildebeest on foot, and hopefully the same thing will happen. We'll see if we can get one more view. I think we can. It actually opens up a little bit here. There's lots of bottoms. Viam, can I hear your best wildebeest sound? So Viam, I don't know if you heard that, but that was Viam's wildebeest call. Herbie, come to yours. Come close to me. Herbie, do your wildebeest call. Do it. You're talking to them. Look at that. Did you see that wildebeest? Do it again. the wildebeest, the big bull snorted back. So obviously Herbie has got the best wildebeest call out here out of all the Wild Earth guys. We'll have to ask Byron and Tristan to do their best attempts, but I think it's going to be difficult to beat Herbie. That was so funny. Literally, as he did that last one, it did a big snort back at us, as if to say, back off, these are my girls. Now, I'm sorry, Mr. Bull Wildebeest, we are not interested in your ladies. They're all yours. You have been very patient. You have been herdless for about a good month and a half now, at least, if not even a little bit longer than that. So I'm sure he's very excited, and he's going to try and keep these girls as well together for as long as possible and keep them up in this area. And I'm sure that they'll move between quarantine during the day and in the evenings, and then go down towards the water to have a drink. Now, Nursey, you're wondering how long is a wildebeest gestation period? It slipped my mind. I think it's 8 months. Please, can somebody double check for me? Maybe you can have a quick search on the interweb. I think it's about 8 months. What do you think, Herbert? The gestation period for a wildebeest? I don't know. My brain is pudding today. I apologize for that. I think it's 8 months. Let's see. 243 to 270 something days. So 3, 6. No, I'm just even teasing. Let's do that. It's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Yeah, that's about that. It is about 8 months, 8.5 months. Okay, it wasn't too far off. It was a good guess. I knew it was somewhere around there. I couldn't remember exactly. But of course, it does change from animal to animal, like it does in humans. Obviously, it's 9 months for us, but sometimes it's a bit longer, sometimes a bit shorter. It just depends on when that baby is ready to come out. And, well, they've got to be ready, especially when you're entering a world out here in the wild African savannah. It can be quite daunting, and you have to be ready. Baby Gnu, you've said, is Wiem my long lost uncle? Possibly, he is. Can I show you a picture of him, Wiem? We're going to show you, and then you have to let us know. Now, I'm not very good at this. Is that your long lost uncle? He's got horns. Baby Gnu? You look very much like a wildebeest. Okay, there we go, Wiem. Not very good at that, of course. You should have seen how awkward I was trying to hold that. I'll just stand this side. But there we go. Possibly he is. You can maybe write to him and see. Maybe you bumped you passing herds, you know, looking for water, looking for grazing. I'm not certain. But we're going to leave this herd alone. We'll try again tomorrow and see how they react to us. And maybe we build up a good relationship with Herbie's herdie. And we're going to send you back across to Tristan now. I'm actually not sure where he is or what he's got, but he'll tell you now.
Well, Taylor, I suppose when you hear news that Vildy is an uncle, that is exciting, and we then forget everything else. Well, I'm still with Mvula and still sitting and waiting patiently. He is looking around and listening to what's going on around us. There's some button quails that are calling in the distance, which is that low sound that you're hearing in the background. So he's just biding his time. It is starting to get nice and dark now, so there's this cloud on the western bank. The sun is shifted below that and is now going down behind the Drakensberg Mountains, and so we've got sort of dark light that is starting to come through now, and it's going to be dark very quickly this evening, and I'm sure that's what he's waiting for. So he's waiting for the cover of darkness to start moving. Now, there was a male impala on over my right shoulder for a while, but I don't see it anymore. I think it's moved on. It was somewhere in this vicinity over here, so I think it's now shifted off a little bit more to the west to join the rest of the impalas. But you can see, look how dense it is in here. So this is not a safe place for an impala to be spending much time in the darkness. It's going to be very easy for a leopard to be able to find an impala in all of this, and with this long grass that we have, it's going to be very difficult for anything to spot this leopard at night, and that leopard knows this. It knows that at night this camouflage pattern that it's got is going to come into its own, and it's going to be really, very, very, very tough to be able to see what's going on. So for Mvula, it's all about just resting now and waiting for that optimal time where he can then start to come out and start to see what's going on and start to then hunt those impalas. Like I said earlier, his stomach is not empty. He's definitely had some sort of a meal in the last few days. It's not like he's absolutely famished, and he really actually looks quite good. When I saw him walking over the road earlier, his muscular structure is really good. So even though he's a 12-year-old boy, he still looks quite decent, and his neck area is still massive. He's still got that big broad shoulders and deep neck, that has always been his trait, and that then blunt face. So he is still looking very good for his age, which is really great to see. I'm hoping that he's still going to make many, many more memories and sightings for us here on Safari Live. Ooh, Lynette, this is an interesting one. You're wondering if leopards get heartworms. I'm actually not sure, Lynette. It's something that I have never heard of. I've never read anything in any of the literature that I've read about leopard. I have not seen anything about their heartworm, but I have a very good friend who is a state vet and does veterinary or wildlife veterinary, so I will ask him about it and find out whether or not they do indeed get heartworms. But it's an interesting question. I wonder if they do. We'll have to just investigate that further. So if you watch tomorrow morning, I'll try and investigate tonight for you and then be able to give you a more informed answer tomorrow morning, if that's okay. Or tomorrow afternoon, whichever one suits you better. You let us know and I can go into more depth. Hopefully this is going to have broken the leopard drought for us on Djuma, and we're going to get a lot more leopards around, so we can bring up this conversation a lot more in the future drives tomorrow. Hopefully, like I say, the royals will be back. Maybe this is a good omen that Mvula is here and that a Karula will then bring them back. But I also wonder if this is maybe why we haven't seen too much of Karula. Lots of random males walking around. Like I say, if Taylor saw a young male earlier, Mvula being around, maybe she just doesn't feel that comfortable up on Djuma at the moment with the cubs, and so she shifted them further south into the heart of Tingana's territory to be able to keep them safe. Well, Karula, I suppose, would mate with Mvula if she came across him and she was in heat and he was able to push any other male away and mate with her, then yes, she would. He was seen mating midway through last year with Shaluva in Buffelshoek, so he was still mating midway through last year, and so it's very possible that he will still mate with that female, or with Karula, should I say. But the thing about mating leopard is that they make a lot of noise, so if he's mating with Karula, that's definitely going to attract the attention of all these other young boys that are around, and even then of Tingana, who's maybe not young, but is still quite a big boy, and will hear that sound and come and investigate what's going on and why is Karula mating with another male. So it would be taking a big risk, but that drive to mate always outweighs any other sort of risk, and they then do it. So I would say yes, if he came across Karula and there was no other sign of a male, he would definitely mate with her. Right, it's getting to that time of the day. I was commenting on how it's starting to darken up quite effectively now, and it's getting very dingy, and it's not safe for Miss McCurdy to be out in the wilderness walking around. So let's go back to her, so her and the proud new uncle could say goodnight.
Look how close we've got. You know what we did? This is really amazing. We actually just ended up walking straight across quarantine, and then the wildebeest didn't even move at all. They've all sort of grouped up now, with some of them watching us and the rest of them not particularly bothered, heads in the ground, grazing, so that's quite good. And they're all snorting at us, so there could be a number of different things. Wildebeest alarm at people all the time, and the other thing is that with the fading light that we have at the moment, we could be playing a couple of tricks on their eyes, which may be why they are reluctant to move, just wanting to watch our steps and see where we go, because if they run away too far, they'll lose sight of us. And that's often what animals will do, is they'll keep repositioning themselves in order to have a good view of a leopard or a lion if they've alarmed and they've given their presence away and that animal is not stalking anymore. And they'll watch it. Like I said, I've seen a number of times where impala have been 20 meters away from lions and big males, as they're calling, and doing a territorial patrol, and not particularly interested in catching anything to eat, and impala moving closer and closer. But now that we're up here on top of the crest, you can actually see how many wildebeest there are, and I think that I was a bit, well, I could have gone a bit more with the numbers and the amount of wildebeest that are here. I reckon there's probably at least 20, if not a couple more. So this bull has really got a difficult task on his hands now, because the bigger the herd, the more difficult it is to keep them in a nice tight circle and prevent them from, well, moving off and out of his territory. A perfect example is how we watch the impala run around, and we'll try and get the girls to come back to the main part of the herd. There's much chasing that goes on. Wildebeest don't chase to that extent, but he will constantly circle and keep herding them around to keep them in a nice tight sort of knit group. And this is lovely, and this is where they'll sleep. They'll definitely be here first thing in the morning, so I'm really excited to come back here again to have a closer look, especially to have a closer look at how all the youngsters have grown. Because remember, they're only about 3 or 4 months old now. They're not particularly old, but they're the same color as the adults now. They're not that tawny brown sand color that we were seeing. Remember, we had that amazing sighting with Evia, one of our other presenters that helps out every now and then, where the wildebeest were very young, probably only a few weeks old, and it was laying down on a patch of sand, and you almost didn't know it was there. If you didn't point it out, it would probably take your eyes a couple of minutes to adjust and spot something so small. But sadly, it is getting very, very dark out here, as I'm sure that you can see. But luckily, we're on quarantine. We're not stuck out far away in the bushes. Let's keep walking. Now, I'm very allergic to grass or something around here. Every time I walk through quarantine at the moment, I get these welts, and they go away after I put an antihistamine cream on them, and then they don't come back. But I wonder if it's a nettle that I haven't seen yet. There are definitely lots of nettles around at the moment, hey Herbie? Lots of nettles. Or it's a particular grass type that my skin does not seem to like. Yes, I'm now breaking out in these little bumps, but it's all right. Or I have to get some of the marula bark again and rub that all over my legs. Now, some of you may be wondering, our last segment, what just happened towards the end. It was very embarrassing because I sort of stood on an unlevel, a little bit of a divot in the ground, and almost broke my ankle, as you saw. So I don't know if you've ever seen those videos of the girls that walk on the runway with the biggest stilettos and high heels you've ever seen, and sometimes their ankles sort of cave in and they do one of those wobbles and then fall. I basically did one of those. So yes, I didn't hit the ground though. I managed to recover, but it was quite funny. Rebecca said that her and Lou watched it a couple of times afterwards there. But so yes, I'm always clumsy, always falling down, but it's getting dark now, and unfortunately that's the end of the silliness for this bushwalk. But I hope that you haven't all enjoyed the walk out here at the time today. We're a little bit short with the light, but times are changing soon, and then we'll be able to spend a little bit more time out in the bush. But it's been fantastic, and hopefully the royal families make a return. But we'll see you tomorrow from, well, on the Sunrise Safari.
Well, welcome back to a very sleepy Mvula. He's still not moving too much at all. You can see it is starting to get dark. The light is now taking effect, so I'm sure that he's going to wake up shortly. I know we've been all afternoon with him and he's been quite sleepy, but hopefully he's going to reward us with a very exciting finish to our drive. And also the fact that we've had a bit of a leopard drought. It's quite nice to spend a bit of time with the spotted cat and see what they get up to. It's good to remind ourselves what they actually look like again and how they actually move around. And you can see why it's so difficult to find them at the moment. If you were 10 meters from this, I mean, we're sitting probably, he's now lying, I would say 10 meters, but if you'd say we're 20, 30 meters away, you would really, really struggle to see that. And even with the light, there's no eye shine. You can see it's just a broken up mess of spots. And while you're driving, to see that is going to be really very, very tough indeed. So you can see there, from the perspective that we have, it's just looks like grass and a blob in the grass. And there we go, he's lifted his head finally. Good evening, my boy. Hello. So you can see he's just scenting the air a little bit now. So he's smelling to see what's going on. So he's picking his nose up and sniffing the wind. He's trying to ascertain if there's anything around him or if there's any sign of any prey animal that he could then potentially hunt again. I always love when leopards or cats in particular start to wake up in the evenings. You find that they kind of takes a bit of time. They slowly but surely start to sort of think about what they're going to be doing, and their eyes open a little bit and then they close, and there's a very slow process to waking up. It often feels like the way that I wake up in the morning sometimes, I always have to set my alarm 15 minutes earlier so that I can actually be up in time. Now, hopefully we'll start to see him yawning. If we start to see him yawning, that's going to be a really good sign that he's going to get up and move. We already saw that this afternoon, is that it's one of those sort of indicators when it comes to leopard and lions. They yawn, they get the oxygen into those lungs and just get themselves prepped to be able to then stand up and start moving. So hopefully we start to see that, and then he does take us for a walk and maybe a hunt this evening. Now, we do have the infrared lights that we're going to be using in the Mara, so it'll be great if they do start hunting. Marianne, the grooming process is vital because lying in grass like this, as I'm sure maybe you've noticed on the bushwalks, we've spoken a lot about ticks. There are a lot of ticks at the moment that are on this grass, and so lying here, ticks are crawling all over him. So that grooming process is great just to get rid of those parasites that haven't latched on yet. It also gets rid of any fur that maybe has been dislodged while he's been sleeping in the grass and moving around in the grass, so it gets his coat into good condition before he starts to go. The yawning is just extra oxygen into the lungs, and it just helps with him getting that lactic acid moving from lying down for long periods of time, so that when they stand up they're able to go and the blood flow is working quite well. So that's why they yawn before they start getting up. And then, like I say, the grooming is just to keep themselves in good condition. And then you'll find when just before they sleep in an area, they actually do the exact same process, not the yawning but the grooming part. And the grooming from that is because now when they walk, the same thing has happened. Picked up parasites, they've dislodged fur, so it's just to keep the coat in good condition. Also, the grass at the moment has got a lot of seed in it, and a lot of the seeds, like Taylor was talking about, the panicum that she tried to eat and she said wasn't very nice at all, well, that panicum has got a sticky residue around the seeds, and those seeds are going to be sticking to him, so it's just to get rid of all of that and make sure that the fur doesn't get clogged and matted and dirty from walking around in this bush. And unfortunately, you don't have the situation like we have with our domestic animals, that we can brush them and clean them, and that's why they have to take such good care of themselves all the time. But it is absolutely amazing, the camouflage. The camouflage astounds me with these animals. You can see that spotted coat is completely breaking up that outline, and with that sort of grass and the mottled effect of the grass, it's almost impossible to see this leopard lying there. If you had to do a quick glimpse now, if you had just joined us and you weren't sure what we were looking at, I would defy you to spot what is in that grass and tell me exactly what we're seeing. So it is really quite something. Right, now we are going to just carry on for a little bit longer with him and just see if he's going to maybe stand up and move and take us on this evening hunt. And while we do that, let's go back to Byron and see what shenanigans he's getting up to on Arethusa.
So Tristan and everyone else, we went past the lions. They're still lying in the same position. They haven't moved. And there were a few other vehicles that are now looking to try and get in to view them, so we thought we'd give them a chance, let them go and have a view. I was hoping they were possibly moving around, but they're not. They're still lying down on the airstrip. So we've decided we're going to continue and see what nocturnal life we might be able to find on our way back towards Djuma. And that's it really. That's the update from my side so far. I'm going to get the spotlight out soon. And we'll start having a look for little bush babies, perhaps some chameleons, maybe a scorpion or two. Let's have a quick look there. It's nice that it's starting to get dark a bit earlier, because we have the ability to do that then. Look for some nocturnal activity. But pity those lions didn't move too much. But as we've seen, the last few days there's been a lot of lion movement between the different properties in this area, from Buffelshoek onto Arethusa, through Djuma. So there's a lot of movement, a lot of activity. So who knows, we might have an entire pride on Djuma tomorrow, and we'll definitely listen out for them again tonight. It always helps hearing the lions call in the evening. We might be able to find something. Let's see what we can find for now. Maybe a caracal. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Very jealous that Taylor got to see one yesterday. That is such a lucky sighting. I still have never seen a caracal in the wild, so I'm even more jealous than anyone else. Some of these leaves, it's always difficult because our eyes play tricks on us, and we see what we want to see as opposed to what's really there. So I think I see a chameleon, but having said that, I have spotted a few chameleons in the last few days, so let's see if we can find one this evening. And my tip of the day, what was it this morning? Dave, do you remember? Yeah, yes, thank you. Shake out your boots. So, and what I was saying was, in the evenings, and I think someone was on the bushwalk and they were looking for scorpions and that. In the evenings and around the camp, there are scorpions that do walk around at times, or other little insects. So the best thing to do is always, when you wake up in the morning, just shake out your clothes a little bit and shake out your boots, or your shoes, just to make sure that there isn't a scorpion that's crawled inside. So that's a bush tip of the day, or safari tip, wherever you are, doesn't matter, but always just check your shoes and that in the mornings, because creatures do crawl around, and they do crawl into boots. So just have a look around, or just be careful. That was my tip of the day. I have to start thinking of a lot more tips. There are plenty of tips though for a safari, so I'll definitely try to think of more. Hang on, there's a nightjar, a beautiful nightjar. Oh, great. Not going to shine the light on it for too long. Actually, just taking this light off, it makes a big difference. Now that looks like a fiery necked nightjar. Oh, there it goes. Oh. Beautiful bird. Lovely bird. I really enjoy seeing those little nightjars. And I'll show you while I'm driving quickly. While I say fiery neck nightjar, it looks like it is, but it is difficult to tell. There it is again. Let's have another little look. Fiery neck nightjar. Let's just have a look here. There we go. Oh, I lost it. It just flew off, but have a look here quickly, everyone. Let me just find, there we go. There's a picture that I saw. Now, you can see very well camouflaged, but it did have that white marking on the wing and some of the flecking, but they all look very similar. But I do think that was a fiery necked nightjar. And I'll show you just quickly some of the other ones we might get you. Not really freckled. But I mean, look at that. That looks similar. Now this is which is this again? This is the square-tailed or Mozambican nightjar. Sorry, Dave, Mozambican nightjar. So it looks very, very similar. But I don't think that we get them coming in through a little bit. But what I've heard the last little while have been the fiery necked nightjars. But I do think that was a fiery necked nightjar. But they are very, very difficult to identify. They do all look the same. Anyway, let us continue and see if we can find chameleons or other nocturnal stuff. And Tristan is still with Mvula, but in nocturnal mode. Let's go and have a look.
We are indeed, Byron. We're in Army IR mode, so we're in infrared, and this is the new sort of technology that we're trying out, because we're trying to do as much as we can at night without disturbing any animals. So we use the infrared light, which is a very, very low frequency light that goes under the spectrum of our eyesight, so it doesn't blind the animal in any way. You can see Mvula's eyes are quite open, he's looking around, and it doesn't affect them. And so that's why we're going to be able to hunt with these animals and follow them on hunts without worrying too much that we're disturbing him or the impalas or anything else that is around. So it really is quite spectacular to view these animals, and you can see the difference between what we had earlier, how Mvula was just disappearing in the grass. It was really tough to see him. Now with the infrared light, you can see the spot detail coming out a little bit better, so it's a lot easier to actually pick him up. So really, really cool little piece of technology, and it helps our cameraman a lot. Now, the other thing is that Mvula has been starting to yawn, so he's done 2 big yawns already. It was a slight little groom as well, so I reckon that he's maybe going to start standing up soon. Hopefully, that will be the case. I'm hoping that he's going to give us another big yawn for all of you so that you can see his teeth. I was quite shocked to actually see the teeth that he's got. They're not nearly as worn as I thought they would be for a leopard of his age. They're still quite healthy, so he's got no problems with his teeth at this stage. No, don't go back to sleep, big boy. No. So back to sleep we go for a little bit. But his teeth are really looking very, very healthy, which is great news. I was wondering if his teeth were maybe a bit worn or any sort of signs of damage to them. But at this stage, they still look as though they are okay and healthy. Mama, you're wondering if older leopards ever hang out with displaced young males? Well, they can do. I've seen Mvula, funny enough, even when he was a territorial male, hanging around with young males that he wasn't even the father of, or what we deemed he wasn't the father of. So I saw him when he was hanging around sometimes with Karula's previous litters, so Shivambalana and Shivinzi, and that was back when Jordan was still around, and so in all likelihood Jordan was the one that made it to father those cubs. So he did hang around with them. I've seen him hang around with other young leopards as well, and then we've seen cases where Quarantine hung around with Nkanyeni's youngster, and he definitely did not mate with her. So it does happen sometimes, and it's not just when they get older, it's even when they're younger, but they won't move around for long periods of time. Generally what brings them together is a food item, so you might find that this younger leopard has caught something, and this male has then wandered in and found this younger male, and it then sits and tries to steal the food from that animal. So let's see now, he is starting to get up again, and I can see that his head's up, so I'm hoping that he is going to start yawning and waking up a little bit. But yeah, I think a lot of what we've read in books is very area specific, particularly when it comes to leopard. Here in the Sabi Sands, and I'm sure in other parts where the density is high, so places like Yala National Park and in Sri Lanka and South Luangwa where the density is very, very high. Let's do a quick, we need to go across to Byron. I believe he's got something quite special, so let's get across quickly.
Yes, honey badger, everyone! Look at that, there they go! Oh my word! There it is, there's one right there. There, they just run off. Oh, 2 honey badgers, yes! Where did they go? They've just gone off into the long grass now. How quickly did they disappear? Oh no! Let's see if they stick their heads out again. They are very, very shy little animals. I think they're in the long grass over there, but this just shows you how difficult it is to spot them now. Long grass, and they can just disappear. They are skittish animals, but it looked like a pair, perhaps a male and female. I didn't get a good look at them. But what a wonderful little sighting. Very quick, but we got to see them. My favorite honey badger. I can't believe it. Well done, Dave. How great was that? We came up the road, and yeah, they were in the middle of the road running in front of us. That was fantastic. I have been waiting years. I promise you, when I tell you, I have not seen a honey badger for about 4 years at least. And they just they just evaded me, but it's my favorite animal. I love them. They are so tenacious. They're not afraid of anything. Just incredibly interesting little creatures, and that is fantastic. Oh, that is awesome. Well, there we go. That was awesome. I'm so happy, everyone. The honey badgers. Finally, I've been saying since I started at Safari Live that I would love to see some honey badgers while I'm here. And to see 2 of them now just running around in the road, oh, that is really, really special. I'm so happy. Alright, I think we're going to do a quick little replay of these honey badgers so you can see them again. Let's have a little look at that. Yes, honey badger, everyone! Look at that, there they go! Oh my word! There it is. There's one right there. There, they just run off. Oh, 2 honey badgers. Yes! So I hope you all got a good look at that. Wasn't that amazing? Now I didn't even have a look at the screen. I was just so fixed on watching the badgers running in front of us. So it just shows you never know what you're going to bump into, and that was so great. Yeah, thank you everyone. I'm glad you all enjoying it and that you're also happy. There's a little bronze-winged courser. There it goes. Just took off. The old honey badgers. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, that is really great. And I always say this, but doing what I do, I'm very fortunate that I get to go out into the bush regularly. But there are still animals that we just don't see all the time or evade us. And I mean, a caracal being one. Taylor got to see it yesterday. And I haven't seen honey badgers for years, and I've been looking everywhere, but sometimes you don't see them. So it's just so rewarding when you are doing this and you do bump into those little animals, those creatures that you really love seeing. Everything obviously is wonderful to see, but the ones that you haven't seen for a while, it's just so rewarding to see them. And that is also why I love doing this, is because every day is different. You don't know what you're going to see. Every day is unique. So that was really very special. See what else we can find. I feel like we're on a roll. Andrew, you'd like us to find an aardvark and a pangolin. Andrew, to be honest, we'd get them here, but that's unlikely. Let's put it that way. But they are in this area, and you never know. Stranger things have happened. You do get them around, and we might find them. You never know. But the best place for seeing aardvark and pangolin are in the Kalahari. And those in the Kalahari, you do see those little creatures quite a lot, especially in the winter. They come out a lot earlier because the temperatures drop so much there, and you do get to see them. The habitat's different and the terrain suits them. Now Tristan has got something small and interesting he'd like to show you.
So we were watching Mvula, and Craig pointed this out, and look at this. There are hundreds of spiders constructing a web right next to us, and with the naked eye you cannot see them, but with this infrared Craig was able to pick them up. And isn't that just absolutely incredible? Those spiders are minute. You can see the grass stalks in the background there, the size that they are. So really small, and you can see how many of them are busy moving around. Now I have no idea what spider they are. It's really interesting. I'm not sure if these are maybe one of the community nest spiders, but they're not constructing a web that a community nest spider would build. You can see it's a long strand that's going out. So I wonder if this is all little baby spiders, and you can see now in relation to the size of the grass how tiny those little spiders are. So it's an incredible spot from Craig. Absolutely amazing. And I know Byron had his honey badger, so he's going to be so excited about that. And Taylor had a caracal yesterday, and I had the jackals yesterday, but this has got to be one of the most interesting things that I have seen. I have never seen spiders in this congregation numbers in night constructing a web the way that these are. It is absolutely incredible. Look at that. It's amazing. Now it's difficult because the wind is blowing a little bit, so the web is moving. But isn't that incredible? Now I wonder if these are not brown widow spider babies, because we've got a brown widow spider that sits on Wendy often, and at night she spins these webs on our vehicles, and in the morning we come along and there's been lots of egg sacs. And I wonder now if these haven't come off the car, because the actual web is anchored to the car and it's now coming across into the bush, and all the spiders are starting to head off the car towards the bush. So maybe the babies are making a run for it, and they're starting to now go off and live their adult life away from one another. But it is absolutely amazing. I can't tell you how incredible this is. Now Mvula is still here. He's sitting somewhere in the back there, but we're a bit more mesmerized by this because he's having a very big nap. It's amazing. You would think that that just looks like little floating pieces of grass seed. You can see the finger grass in the background, those small seeds, and there we go. Mvula's just got up, and he's starting to go now. So I think we're going to follow him. But weren't those spiders absolutely amazing? I can honestly say that that is one of my favorite spider sightings. Right, so there's Mvula. He's just scent marking in front of us, and we're going to try and keep up with him. It is very, very thick bush, so while we do that, let's go across to Byron and see if he can pull another rabbit out the hat, so to speak, and find us another rarity this evening.
It was a honey badger, Tristan, not a rabbit. Now, we're just having a look around to see what else we can find. Hopefully Tristan's able to stay with Mvula. It's very difficult at night, especially in this thick bush at the moment. Not easy. Michael, you'd like to know what animal we see most at night? Well, currently it's been birds, so nightjars and bronze-wing coursers. Those are the ones that we've been seeing the most of at the moment. But from nocturnal animals, I don't know. It's an owl. Oh, there he goes. Sorry, just spotted him. There he goes. There he sits. Beautiful pearl-spotted owl. Hello. Great. So, and see, we also spot owls. But other animals that we see, I can actually hear pearl-spotted owls calling around us. You might be able to hear them too. Beautiful, beautiful little bird. I love these little owls. They're one of my favorites. Beautiful markings on them, and if he turns his head away from us, there, see those two black spots on the back of the head, almost look like eyes, make it very easy to identify the pearl-spotted owl. Those beautiful yellow eyes watching us now. They've got that beautiful call that you may have heard. There were one or two calling behind us. They are very territorial, and they give off that beautiful whistle, that this is really, really great. What a great evening. There, listen. Did you hear that? Could you hear that whistle?
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's calling for us. See, they're calling to one another. That's a lot of territorial calling, or to attract a mate. But how wonderful is that whistle? Did you all hear that? That was very clear. Just to confirm that it is a pearl-spotted owl. Always helps if the birds call and you can confirm it. But the pearl-spotted owl has very distinct markings, those two black spots on the back of the eye. I'm going to take the light off of him now. Lovely little sighting of that owl. Wasn't that great? Eh? Fantastic. Really, really lovely. Oh, James, you say we yet to hear my courser call. Now the bronze-wing courser, I need to refresh myself with it. I'll think of it, James, and I'll do it a little bit later. I will do it, I promise. I need to practice these things. I promise, Rebecca, I will do it later, don't worry. I need to save something for later. John, there are many bird species that migrate in and out of the area. So, just off the top of my head, quickly, let's go through some of them. Some of the swallows, then bee eaters, European roller, Wahlberg's eagles, There are a number of others. There's some little starlings that migrate. There are, what else? We spoke about the pratincoles this morning, so there are a number of different birds. The kingfishers, woodland kingfisher, and that they migrate. All the cuckoos migrate. So there are a lot of bird species, John, that do migrate during the winter, or our winter. They'll migrate north for the summer, and then return down here again for our summer. Let's see what else we can find. I've just found a spider web. A lot of little spiders around still. I have not seen that many golden orb web spiders like we usually see, and I find that very interesting. And I wonder if it hasn't got something to do with the drought that we had, perhaps. Maybe, I'm not sure. But it definitely affected, I think, some of the movement. Also, the amount of chameleons and that we see. But perhaps we're just not that good at spotting them. That could be the other reason. Let's see what we can find. I would like to find another scorpion. I haven't seen one of those for a while. And now there are little water holes up ahead, mud wallows. You never know, there could be something that's come down to drink. So always have a look around there, look very, very carefully. And I'm scanning the bush, see what we can find. Maybe little frogs around here too, although the frogs haven't been very vocal lately. Here we go. There's the little. Let's just listen for a second. No, nothing. Nothing for the moment. A few crickets calling. It's beautiful. Lovely sounds. So Kiki Beth, a lot of the birds that we see at night now, these nocturnal birds, fly down and sit on the roads because they're looking for insects. The roads hold a lot of heat during the day, and there will be a lot of insects moving around on the road, so it's a bit easier for those birds. For one, they gain a bit of warmth from the road, and also to look for insects that they might potentially feed on. So that is why these nocturnal birds like to sit on the roads. It's a bit warmer and a bit easier to see little insects walking past. You know what I haven't spotted in a tree for quite some time at night is a snake. Now, when I worked with my friend Judas, he was excellent at spotting snakes in trees at night. And he taught me how to do it and what to look for, but it's not that easy. It really isn't that easy. But we'll see, you never know. But I haven't seen a snake in a tree at night for quite some time. Some wonderful smells in the bush at the moment. There's an impala lying down. I'm not going to shine on him. But there's this real grassy smell, like fresh grass smell. And also because we're dropping lower down at the moment, we're approaching a drainage line. So what happens is in the evenings, the cold air is a lot heavier and it sinks down, so it traps that smell. Any smell that might be in the area, it will trap it lower down, so it becomes a lot stronger. And that's why we can smell it at the moment. It's grassy, yeah, that's the best way to describe it. A thick, grassy smell, fresh grass smell. I just heard something back here. What was that? But I heard something move through the bush. That's a thing. While you are driving around, you've got to rely on your hearing, not just your eyesight, but your hearing and your sense of smell. Especially when the bush is so thick. Let's see. Are there no scorpions around? I really hope you have all enjoyed this afternoon with us. It's been a really, really exciting drive. It's been a lot going on. I think I heard this name correctly. Take care or cake care. Take care, and you wanted to know why is it warm on the roads. So the roads are very exposed during the day. So the heat of the sun will warm up the road, and generally what happens is it will maintain or retain that heat for a little bit longer. So it just becomes a bit warmer and stays warmer during the course of the evening, as opposed to these areas that are covered in vegetation. So that is why. Alright, now let's head back to Tristan quickly and see where Mvula is going.
Mvula has now crossed into Mvula-Styx, so he's on his way away. I can't follow him any further than where we are now, but he's definitely on the scent of something. He's following the scent, and he keeps sniffing all the grass. He's actually even been scent marking, which is quite interesting. So he did a scent mark over the top of another leopard. He was phlegm grimacing. So I don't know if he's maybe picked up, like I say, this younger male that Taylor saw. It's possibly what he's picked up and what he's busy smelling. But isn't that a beautiful picture as he just slinks through this grass and into the night and away. Now, I was hoping that we would have spent the whole night with him and gotten a lot more time with him maybe hunting on our side, but it seems like he's heard something to the north, because he picked up his head and started moving straight north as soon as he could. So there he goes, off he goes into the distance. And that's going to be it for us in Mvula. But it has been an absolutely amazing evening, and to spend time with this leopard the whole afternoon has been really quite special. Frosty, I do know some of Mvula's offspring, so I know we can still actually get a visual of him. So we have Shivambalan, which I think is from him. It's difficult because it could have been him or Jordan, so we're not 100% sure. He's just slinking off into that gap there, Craig. I don't think you'll get, but there he is. I see a bit of scent marking that he's doing. He's rubbing his face up on the tree there. So Shivambalan could be either Jordan or Mvula. Then there was Wabayiza, which unfortunately got killed by the Styx Pride. Then there was, I'm just trying to think, Kuchava is one of Mvula's offspring. Bahuti, which is another one of Tandi's. So there are quite a few. Sindile could also be him. It's debatable if it's Tingana or him as well. So there's quite a number of them. Right, now Byron has got a small little animal that bounces around all over the show. So let's go across to him and see what he's got.
Yes, look everybody, 2 little bush babies. I've been trying to keep them curious just by making a small little noise, but watch, there they go, look at that. Watch, the other one should be coming soon, let's see. Where did the other one go? It's still there it is, just still in the tree. Oh, beautiful. Let's see if we get it jumping. Just shine the light a little bit in front of it. It might encourage it to jump. Follow the other one. I wonder if they don't sleep in this tree somewhere. Look at that, there it is. That looks like a tiny little one, perhaps a youngster. Watch. Okay, watch. I think we're going to get a leap from it. Let's see. There we go, on the ground. Oh, great. Sorry, I've got flies. Little insects flying in my face. Wasn't that great? 2 little bush babies jumping across the road. Oh. Yeah. And that was Dave laughing. It wasn't the bush baby calling. They're still around here. We're just at the top of this tree now. Wow, what a wonderful bush baby sighting. I mean, you all know, usually they disappear quite quickly. And there it's amazing jumpers. There they go. What a wonderful view. And they still are, you know. Gee, this has been a very, very special evening. I hope all of you are enjoying it and watching with us. This needs to go on a highlights package, Rebecca. Watch, this little one might jump. There we go. Oh. Amazing jumpers. There they go. Lovely. Right, wasn't that great? So special. Really special. And I say it's special, but I do mean it. It's because I know that at times you really need to be lucky to see them. Never mind spend time and see them jumping around like that. So that was great. Oh, what Steph says, they remind you of super gliders. You know, incredibly agile jumpers, but amazing ability to spring from one tree and one branch to another. And as you saw, even on the road. Now that could be an interesting tracking question, seeing a little bush baby track on the road. That I think that could stump a lot of people, or a lot of guides, that's for sure. Claire, now the bush baby anatomy is designed to jump. So they've got almost like, the best way to describe it was they have like spring-loaded legs that are able to absorb the shock from those long jumps and then obviously shoot off again. So as they land, they absorb that shock of them landing, and then they spring off again and start jumping. So all that movement and that design allows them to jump like that without injuring themselves. And it's just the way that the bush babies have evolved, and that they are able to jump like that. Tim, I don't know why they are called bush babies. I really don't know the history behind that name. The other name for a bush baby is a galago. That is the other term for a bush baby, but they are part of the primate family. But I'm not sure why they are called bush babies. They cute, they small, and you see them at night in the bush. Bush baby? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure where the name bush baby actually comes from. Girl of Fire, you want to know if the bush babies are social or solitary. Now, you do see them occasionally in small pairs, or 2 or 3. Not so small pairs, either a pair or small groups, 2 or 3 or 4 occasionally. I think the most I've seen together has been about 4. But so small family groups or a pair, and then they usually move off. What was that? Something flew into me. But they occasionally you might get one alone, but that might be a male perhaps that's looking for females. But from what I've seen, they are usually in small groups, small family groups. And when it's usually a pair, and then if you get more together, then it will usually be the youngsters that are with them. There's something attacking us in the vehicle. It's flying around. I think it's attacking Dave at the moment. You right there, Dave? See if there aren't some big owls around here, perhaps. Still need to try find a chameleon, chameleon. Let's see if we can find one. But what an exciting day! Lions. Well, yeah, we saw lions and jackal, and then those honey badger. That was a highlight. That's a highlight for me for a while. There's those honey badger, and then a lot of nocturnal birds around. The bush babies. Oh, Sarah, thank you very much. Apparently, you draw a picture, and you were so excited about the honey badger sighting too, and you don't know if what made you happier, my excitement or the honey badger. Well, I promise you, I can't tell you how that made my day. Or like I say, that's made a safari dream of mine for a while. I've been trying to find honey badger, and I've just struggled. It's so funny how things happen. So thank you, Sarah. I look forward to seeing that picture. I can't seem to find a little chameleon, but those bush babies were great to see. And then, of course, Taylor had the elephant that she viewed on foot, and Tristan had the leopard. So there was a lot going on today. It was a very special day out there. A rewarding day, I would say. Definitely very rewarding. Still no chameleon, Dave. Or a scorpion. Interesting. Okay, so I think that's a goodbye from myself and Dave for today. Hope you've all enjoyed it. It's been a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, and we will see you all tomorrow morning. Let's head over to Tristan and get an update on where Mvula went, and a goodbye. Bye, everyone.
Well, Byron, it has been an absolutely wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. We had a very quiet week, but our weekend has been spectacular. We've had that crazy jackal interaction with the impala, followed by Taylor's heron catching a catfish, then she got the caracal, then there was the puff adder, then this morning we had lions. It's all been very spectacular. The honey badger, Mvula, so many different sightings this weekend. It's been really, really, really something spectacular. Now, also, we've had little sightings too, so it's been so nice to see things like those spiders, and that's the best part about being out here on Safari Live, is that with guests, sometimes you wouldn't be able to show them those spiders. They wouldn't be able to see that. But with the cameras that we've got and these infrared lights, we're able to show you those small little things that are absolutely fascinating and form a part of this whole ecosystem. So it's been really, really cool to be a part of that, and to be able to showcase those things and share it with all of you is a very special thing. Now, in terms of where Mvula went straight north. Pretty much from where I was, he just cut straight north, and I lost visual of him. And like I say, it's interesting because he was scenting the whole time. So his nose was down on the ground, walking as he was going, and sniffing, phlegm and grimace, scent marking, rubbing his face on trees, which is something a territorial male would do. So I'm quite surprised that he was doing that. The last 2 times I've seen him, which one was fairly recently and the other one was quite a while ago, both of those times there was no scent marking whatsoever. So I wonder, with this bit of rain, if Tingana hasn't been a bit naughty and hasn't come and checked his boundaries and reaffirmed his territory and scent marked this area, and now there's no scent. So Mvula is just taking it and utilizing it for himself at the moment. It'll be really cool if we see him and Tingana on a regular basis around the Djuma area. Now I'm just checking carefully, just in case that young male leopard is somewhere here. You never know. Maybe that would just be the cherry on the top for the weekend if little Sindile popped out and we could all see how he's doing. Right, so some of you may have noticed that in the mornings we get going and it's very, very dark, and it's not easy to see what's going on, and even in the evenings we're battling a little bit with nighttime. So we are going to be changing the times on the 1st of April. So we're going to just be adjusting slightly just to coincide with the sunrises and sunsets. We will let all of you know the exact times closer to the 1st of April, but just so that you know that that is going to be taking place. I'm sure it will be about a half an hour shift later in the morning and earlier in the afternoons. It's normally about that. That's normally how we do things, in little half an hour increments, and that helps us to be able to just be in time with the sunrise and sunset and spend the maximum amount of time out at the right time, so during the times when animals are going to be active, and that we can showcase what's going on the best way possible. Just checking, no more signs of bush babies. I'm very jealous. Taylor and Byron have both had amazing bush baby sightings, and they get their name from the way that they call. So they cry like a baby, and because they're often associated with a tree or a bush, that's where the bush comes from, and the sound is from a baby, and that's why they called it bush baby. Right, it's that time of the evening for us to start saying our goodbyes. It's been a really wonderful weekend that we've had. So from myself and Craig, and then Byron, Dave, Liam, the proud new uncle, and Taylor, it's a very, very big goodbye, and we'll see you all tomorrow morning on our sunrise safari.